crazy peeking.
Do I need to come closer to you?
Stereo. It just doesn't make any sense. All this moving and pinching stuff, man. It's not... Alright, thank you. Test. So you know this is just staying like right where it is? Yeah. That can't be right. So Two. Default. Where's the other Plantronics? Oh, man.
Good evening and welcome to Highlands High School for tonight's pivotal matchup here in Class 4A. The Armstrong Riverhawks won the opening toss and chose to defer. My name is Joe Rhodes. Joining me here shortly will be Ryan Sprankle for this crucial matchup, a de facto playoff game between the Golden Rams, who are the hosts tonight in the camouflage uniforms, and the Armstrong Riverhawks in the away whites. That ball brought out to the 29-yard line, and that's where the Golden Rams will begin their drive.
On that kickoff, looked like there was a little confusion.
So 1st and 10, ball at the 28-yard line. 5 wide receivers, so a lot of weapons out there for this first snap. Back at quarterback, as the case has been for several years now, number 12, that was Timmins. Pitches it outside and hit immediately on the outside. That Armstrong defense collapsing quickly for a loss of 2 yards. Bring up a 2nd and 12. This Armstrong defense versus this Highlands offense, possibly the biggest storyline in this game, the biggest question mark, I guess the one thing to watch for maybe the most. Armstrong front 7 all season long.
That was a tone-setting hit by Dozek
Zablocki, a tone setter, indeed.
He laid a hit on him.
2nd and 12. Be 5 wide receivers again for the Golden Rams. Pinned back at their 26-yard line after the loss on the last play. Man in motion. He will get the handoff on the end around. He's going to try to break it outside, and he will get out to about the 34-yard line, let's say. So a nice little gain there, but still Armstrong's defense bringing enough pressure to limit the speed on the end around there by, I believe that was hard to see. You have to bear with us tonight. They have Brown on the camouflage uniform, so literally camouflaging the numbers themselves here tonight. So a third down, a crucial third down. Can Armstrong really set the tone here? It's going to be a keeper, but wrapped up immediately by a pair of Riverhawks. Jackson Chrisman, the first man on the spot, and then coming with him was Dosick Zablocki. Who else? And that will bring up a fourth down. It looks like the punt unit will come on for the Golden Rams.
Back deep for Armstrong, number 2, Ian Olson, and number 6, Jackson Chrisman.
So Chrisman, after that big hit and forcing the 3 and out, Chrisman will be back deep along with Ian Olson. A booming punt. Olson's going to have to track that down in a Highlands bounce. What a punt. The Highlands fans loving that as it rolls and rolls and rolls down to about the 6-yard line, and that's where Armstrong will take over for their first drive. So we're going to take a quick break here and get the Ryan's headphones figured out, and we will be right back for Armstrong's first drive here on High Top Sports Network.
It was a 60-yard punt.
A nice little gain there for the Riverhawks on their first tote of the game. That was the general, Alex Patton, out to the 31. Armstrong back quickly. We know they like to work quickly, but especially on that particular snap, Olson's going to go deep. Kai Klein's got a beat. He brings it in past the 40. Stiff arm. Dragged down at the 25. A big game for Kai Klein. And the Riverhawks are now in Golden Rams territory. They are excited out there. Armstrong back up to the line, almost like a 2-minute drill.
Well, they're going to keep that personnel on the field. They know what to do against.
Patton right up the middle, almost runs into his own blocker, and then quickly there to wrap him up and finish the job is number 57.
Brought down by number 26, George Williams, and number 57, Angelo Markey. Pick up 3 on the play, 2nd and 7.
2nd down and 7. And a flag. See what this one is. Much to the dismay of, it seems, the Highlands fans here, and it is against Highlands, so tack on 5 more.
Flag on the play, which is offside by the Golden Rams. He's down to the Golden Rams 17-yard line.
So now Armstrong will be at the 17-yard line. It didn't move the sticks, just about a yard short, so we'll see if it's a carry by Patton. It is indeed, and he's going to be stopped behind the line of scrimmage. They sniffed that out quickly, did these home Rams, so it'll bring up,
To number 7
it'll be a 3rd down and, well, it was say 3rd and 3 here as we hit the 10-minute mark. A lot of fireworks here early. I guess the Kai and Klein play made it feel that way, but it feels like a lot happened in just 2 minutes. Taking their time now are the Riverhawks. Ball snapped. Olson's going to go deep again. He's got a man in the back of the end zone, bringing it in, but dropping it at the very last second. I think that was number 10, if I'm correct. It is indeed, and that is the youngster, Joe Bartolowicz.
Joe Bartolowicz goes incomplete, brings up a 4th and 3.
So 4th and 3, this Armstrong drive stalled here a bit after the splash play, I guess you could call it, by Kai and Klein on the deep route, that pretty much a go route, in which Olsen was able to just throw it up and place it and hit the stride incline perfectly. So big 4th down, 4th and 3 ball at the 18-yard line. Olsen takes the snap, pressure coming, screen play in order, and that is Isaiah Brown. He'll go in for the touchdown. Armstrong leads 6-0. What a nice play there. You saw the defensive line of Highlands able to get through quickly, and that says one thing. That means a screen, and Isaiah Brown able to catch it with no one around and take it the rest of the way for Armstrong's first score of the game. So the away team will reach the scoreboard first. Hunter Reed on to tack on the extra point. Reed's been a very solid piece in the special teams game for Armstrong all season long, and he knocks that through, and Armstrong strikes first, able to hold the Rams to a 3-and-out on their first possession and strike on their first. And after 2 possessions, it is Armstrong 7, the Golden Rams nothing here on High Top Sports Network. We're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be right back.
Right away.
And Armstrong kicking off. That's Hunter Reed again, and almost an exact play of their opening kickoff out to this near side to about the 30-yard line, and that's where the Golden Rams and, again, longtime starter Chandler Timmins will begin their second drive of this game. And a picture-perfect start, I believe, for Armstrong, if I do say so. The Riverhawks able to hold the Rams, if you missed it, to a 3-and-out on the first possession, and then on the ensuing drive, hit on a big play, and Ryan Sprankle was right next to me. We're going to get his microphone going here shortly. He even said that big hit on Armstrong's first defensive possession, or I guess when they were on the defensive side of the ball, that big hit by Zablocki really set a tone, it seems. And right here again, Armstrong converging on the ball carrier, not allowing very much there. Looked like it was Connor Jacobs and then Isaiah Brown there to limit the damage. I guess they're going to spot it right at the back of the, or at the line of scrimmage, even though the PA said 2nd and 7. Highlands fan base, it seems, already getting kind of restless. That's what happens when you're 8-0. Again, this is like a de facto playoff game and a de facto section championship game in a way. Still both teams with a game to play next week, but Wildcat, the man now in motion. That's a flag thrown, and it's thrown sort of on the side of Highlands, but Highlands adamant that Armstrong players were jumped first and encroached their side of the ball. We'll see what the guys in stripes say. So it is going to be offsides against Armstrong. Bring up a 2nd and 5. .8:11 on the clock. Man in motion. Same play that they were going to try last time. Here's a long pass down the middle. Wide open across the middle. And able to grab that and get a couple yards after the catch is number 31. That was Dan Long. And in there throwing that one was Aaron Randolph, who, if you haven't noticed, he's wearing a different number here tonight. He's going to be wearing number 1. Normally wearing number 4, and a timeout taken here, so we too will call a timeout on High Top Sports Network.
Hi everyone. Hi everybody. Hi everybody. Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Hey everyone. Hey everyone. Hi everyone. Hi everyone. We're here tonight at the Richard G. Snyder YMCA. T-Bone.
Guys, that's right. It's $5 Sushi Wednesday.
Produce sale. Bananas. 45 cents a pound.
Pork turkeys. You know why we're doing pork turkeys? We're doing a fundraiser.
The meat keeps on rolling the Harry Sprankle.
You know what day it is today. It is Sushi Wednesday. $5 sushi rolls today.
We're getting inspired. Come on. Help me. Hashtag save for me. And we're pumped up because we are less than 24 hours away from Camp Out for Community tomorrow. Like and share, like and share. So like and share, help spread the word. Just make sure you like and share. We can't do what we do without you. Come and see us. We can't do what we do without you. Come and see us. We can't do what we do without you. Come and see us.
Can't do what we do without you. Come and see us.
And welcome back to Natrona Heights, Pennsylvania. Highlands driving their second offensive possession of the game. This is going to be a keeper. Randolph out the left side and able to cross the 40, get to about the 43-yard line. So Randolph helping this drive look a little more promising than the first for Highlands. We're going to say a gain of 8, ball at the 35, 7:24 left, first quarter here in this Class 4A heavyweight matchup between the 7-1 Riverhawks and the 8-0 Highlands Golden Rams. Thank you for joining us here on High Top Sports Network and the Trib Live High School Sports Network. My name is Joe Rhodes. Again, Ryan Sprankle will be joining us on color. And it looks like a timeout will be taken. So again, a little bit of a chess match, as Ryan said, and that'll allow us to hopefully get the audio figured out here. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Life doesn't slow down when the everyday aches and pains have you sidelined. So get back on the field sooner with the care of Olson Chiropractic. Dr. Ryan Olson and his staff treat a variety of conditions for patients of all ages. Don't jeopardize your quality of life and the moments along the way. Let Olson Chiropractic help you find the healthier, younger you. Call Olson Chiropractic at 724-548-1040 to schedule a consultation or see a full list of services online at olson-chiro.com.
And welcome back to Highlands High School. Joe Rhodes here on High Top Sports Network and the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Highlands driving, a timeout called, and aptly said by Ryan Sprankle here a moment ago. It's sort of a chess match. You can see these two teams seeing what the other one's doing, and right there, Aaron Randolph not comfortable with what he saw on the Riverhawks side of things and decided to and opted to call a timeout. Another man in motion. You've seen this a couple times. A little flip there as he reverses course. That was number 2. Braden White. Another nice little gain there by Highlands, and it seems like they are starting to find their rhythm. Certainly contrasting styles. You got Armstrong, who likes to really air it out and not afraid to do so, with Caden Olson under center, and this team with a bevy of good ball carriers, not afraid to slow it down and run the football and kind of play a little more methodically than you see from Armstrong, who, as you saw in that first drive, able to really move it down the field, and a part of that was because of their ability to air it out and move quickly as a result. Randolph is going to run up the middle, but this one's coming back. It looks like it's going to be a holding call as he gets outside past the 10, past the 5, 4, and they're going to let him in as they know this one is coming back. So all for nothing, and you even saw some Armstrong players sort of backing off at the end. That didn't stop Randolph from lowering the shoulder to kind of enforce his will a little bit. But as you can see there, referee signals the holding call, and the Rams will be backed up here. It looks like it's going to go back to about the 44. So a really kind of a pivotal penalty there. We'll see what this does if they can overcome this. Penalty is going to be a part of this game. The team, I mean, this sounds like common sense, but the team I think here that really wins that turnover battle and the penalty battle, I think is probably going to be the team that comes out on top. But I think certainly when you're looking at the sticks being as far away as they have been here on a couple occasions so far for Highlands, it's not going to bode well for you. So it's up now with a 1st and 24. Another man in motion and another pre-snap penalty. It's going to be a false start on the Rams, and man, oh man, they said it's going to be hard to overcome when the sticks are so far, and it's about to be a 1st and 29. So not ideal for Highlands here as we reach the 5:43 mark in quarter number 1. Armstrong leading 7-0. They scored on their first drive. We're seeing from Highlands sort of a switch back and forth between Timmins and Randolph at the quarterback position. See how the division of labor is as this game goes on. It's going to be an interesting thing to watch for. This time it'll be Randolph again in the gun. He's going to take the direct snap, go left, cut back to the middle, but at his feet first was number 65 for the Riverhawks, Owen Kamer. So really, if you can keep these Rams inside of the hashes, when they break it outside, they've got the speed to kind of turn the corner, but Armstrong, as they've been all season long, really tough up the middle. So a unusual 2nd and 28, I believe, as the scoreboard indicates. Don't see those every day. Be Timmins back in the gun. 3 receivers, man flanked to his right. He's going to fake the handoff to that player and throw a little wheel route, but missing the first tackle was Chrisman, and then a few Riverhawks, and a late tackle by Chrisman. That was clear as day. Probably frustrated that he missed that first tackle, and adding a little bit of insult to injury there was Chrisman, who has been such a huge part of this Armstrong team all season. That's not like him at all. Whether it's on the offensive or defensive side of the ball, we've seen him be crucial, and not a very heads-up play there. So that's pretty much, after you had Highlands pinned back as far as you did, you're basically you're putting it to 27, but you're basically flipping all the adversity there, I guess, and now putting it in your corner, but still a third down, 7, I believe, to go. It is indeed. Timmins again will be the man to take the snap. 3 guys, to the far side of the field, along with the running back. Timmins going to go across the middle, but there to break it up at the last second was Kai and Klein. What a beautiful defensive play there by number 1, Kai and Klein. Wow. And you kind of could tell the ball was going there. You saw him just kind of telling the receiver there, and he knew to keep that arm out. So 4th and 7. You figure the offense will stay out here with the ball being where it is at the 27-yard line of the Riverhawks. So a crucial moment in this game. If I haven't said that already, I'm probably going to say it now and again. Timmins in the gun. And 3 guys at the top. He's going to throw it down the sideline. Jump ball there, but out of the reach of the intended target. That was Aaron Randolph, but there was no chance as he was flanked well by Connor Jacobs. So Armstrong able to not allow much there on that drive. It looked like Highlands was starting to find something, a couple nice run plays, and they had Randolph at quarterback when he's able to find that big hookup. They're really the only big pass play so far for the Rams, but a couple penalties really pinned the Rams back. Armstrong did commit a penalty of their own that could have been crucial, but they were able to overcome it there, and a nice defensive play by Jacobs, and really give credit to the defensive front there again, getting enough pressure on Timmins and collapsing the pocket that he really kind of had to, I guess, look for Randolph as everybody else was blanketed as well. So score 7-0 Armstrong, 4:16 still left in this first quarter. And a lot of storylines kind of already unfolding here so far. Armstrong striking quickly on their first offensive drive, and their defense taking care of the rest, not allowing the Golden Rams much in their 2 offensive possessions. So we will see how this one goes, but so far Armstrong kind of making the plays at the moments that that matter most. A big 4th down there, and really expect both teams to go for it in those situations when they're in the opposition's side of the field. And you saw it there, and unable to connect is the combo of Timmins and Aaron Randolph. So again, hopefully we'll get Ryan Sprankle on the mic here with me. I don't like being on it alone, especially in a game of this magnitude. Thank you out there for joining us on this nice Friday night. It was snowing this week, so getting a little worried that weather would follow us here on Friday night, but it is just a pristine late October Friday night for football here at Natrona Heights, Pennsylvania, as the Riverhawks and the Rams battle it out for section supremacy. Right now, Armstrong, I'm not going to name any publications, but pretty much regionally, Armstrong put behind Highlands on a lot of rankings, and that's natural with the Highlands coming into this game without a loss on their record. Armstrong with their lone loss coming at the hands of Aliquippa in a very, very close game early on in the season, their second game of the year. So really, I think Armstrong kind of coming into this game with a chip on their shoulder, thinking that, people still kind of doubting who and what they are. And they've answered a lot of those folks, and certainly looking like they're answering it right now in this game. So Armstrong out there again. 4 receivers, one at the bottom. That's Ian Olson. He's going to go to the top of the screen. Another go route. Kine Klein is outside of his reach. Kine Klein with a beautiful job of creating separation. And boy, oh boy, these Armstrong receivers so far are getting to that second level. But right there, just a little bit too far out of the reach of Kine Klein, who had that big catch in Armstrong's last drive. So now 4 receivers for Olson with Alex Patton flanked to his left. Fakes that, throws it outside to Klein again, but hits him. He let that one kind of get a little too deep on him, and he drops it. That would have been about a gain of 7, but instead it'll bring up a 3rd down and 10 for the Riverhawks. 4 of 4 left first quarter, as they have yet to gain a yard on this drive. Ball's at the 27-yard line. Olson, 4 receivers at his disposal once again. Fakes the handoff, throws it outside. There's his brother Ian with a beautiful fake inside, and he gets outside quickly. Boy, has he been fun to watch this year, Ian Olson. I said a couple broadcasts ago that he seems to be getting better with every game, and right there you just see that first step, fake to the inside. That was enough to give him enough separation to get outside and move the stick. So Armstrong moving the chains and continuing this drive. Is a nice cut there to the left by Alex Patton, who's wrapped up and thrown to the ground after about a gain of 7. Armstrong wasting no time and not helping my vocal cords in the process with their quick pace in which they're playing this one. And Patton very close to the line of scrimmage, or the first down sticks, and the referees will say it is enough for the first down. So Armstrong using 2 carries there to move the chains once again. Keeping the same formation here. 2 at your top, 2 at your bottom. Nearest to you, as you can see, 15 right there. That's Jack Balasek. Ian Olson to his right. And there's a nice carry up the middle again by Patton. Seeing the Riverhawks able to get chunks of yardage, taking it up the middle. And right there, another case of that. So 2nd down and 5, and the Riverhawks now in Golden Rams territory. And frustration starting to be heard here on this near side, which is the home side of things. A little fake play there. A nice little bit of trickery, there by Frank Fabian and the Armstrong offensive staff there. A direct snap to the general, Alex Patton, and Olson kind of doing a great acting job, sort of kind of looking around like he had no idea what was going on, and Armstrong able to move the sticks again. Here's another throw deep, and it's Isaiah Brown for another Armstrong touchdown. Again, Armstrong receivers able to get past that secondary, and a little bit underthrown, but not enough to cost the Riverhawks there, as Isaiah Brown camps under it and brings it in for the Armstrong score. That's going to be something that's going to be crucial in this game. If Armstrong is able to get down the field and win these go routes, it's going to be a long day for them, because Caden Olson is not going to miss often. And right there, he didn't miss as he hooked up with his I would call him that deep ball, kind of that jump ball receiver. What a great resource for him, Isaiah Brown, who has just been putting on highlight reel after highlight reel catches, and extra point up and good. So Armstrong, it looked like maybe a penalty, and they're not going to throw it, but nevertheless, the Riverhawks now lead 14-0 here on this Richard G. Snyder YMCA game night on High Top Sports Network and the Trib Live High School Sports Network. My name is Joe Rhodes. We'll return here for more action with 2:12 left here in the first quarter on High Top Sports Network. Stay tuned. And welcome back to High Top Sports Network. Your score, Armstrong 14, Highlands nothing. The Riverhawks perfect on their 2 possessions. The Rams of the golden variety, not so much. They've really, the big difference, and you saw it on that last offensive drive for Highlands, they were moving the football effectively. Randolph and that ability to run the football, taking snaps like he did. And they got the ball into Armstrong territory, but back-to-back penalties really cost them. They had it was a 1st and 28, and really that's an uphill climb for any team, even if you're Highlands and being 8-0, and certainly a big talk of the 4A football in the Whippeal, but really the self-inflicted wounds, along with some good play on the defensive side for Armstrong, a big reason why their offense has stagnated a little bit. Here's a little chip shot kickoff to the 25, picked up and brought out to, say, the 37-yard line. Kind of a late hit there. Many clamoring for a flag, but nothing doing. That was number 22, Ashton Hadajic. And so Highlands will give it a go for a 3rd time here in the first quarter. They'll start with 2:06 left on the first quarter clock and trailing 14-0. Maybe not the start that I didn't expect, and many of you out there watching, and maybe pundits around the area. Armstrong really kind of making this look like I don't want to say one-sided, but certainly it's kind of the feel as there's a quick hit up the middle. This Armstrong defense able to get penetration every time that Highlands has carried it up the gut. They've been met by an Armstrong defender almost immediately. Owen Kamer there to lay the boom, and once again, as the case has been here, I think this is about the 3rd instance of it, a 2nd and either 10 or 2nd and 11, and after a quick hit at the line of scrimmage. So see how the Golden Rams adjust. Just 2 receivers for this formation, a man in the backfield with Timmins, now a man in motion, moves to the far side of the field, and that'll be an option play and taken up the middle for about a gain of 3 yards. That was Chandler Timmins on the carry. And who else but Dozik Zablocki there to limit him to just 3 yards, and that will bring up a 3rd and 8. Timmins, exclusive quarterback on this drive. We've seen Randolph take a couple snaps, and really the fear factor with him is that he can run the ball and he's so dynamic with it, and that opened up a nice play for him earlier on that pretty much the only pass play that the Rams have been able to connect on. Now Timmins is going to take this up the middle, a lot of room to run. He's going to have the 1st down and more, past the 50, past the 40, about the 46-yard line, and some really borderline tackles here for Armstrong, just maybe a little too amped up and almost too far out of bounds by Connor Jacobs there to justify any flag not being thrown. But the Riverhawks luck out and do not face that outcome, and the Rams now getting just what the doctor ordered, a nice chunk play there, 29 seconds left on the clock, and fresh set of downs, and now in Armstrong territory. Ball placed at the 46. Timmins going to get the ball in the shotgun. He's going to have room, man deep, and that one was underthrown, a wobbler. And a great route there. Number 11, that was Aiden Burford, was able to beat the defender, and really the Armstrong secondary, much improved certainly since the beginning of the season. Maybe the one unit in the one area where Armstrong still trying to kind of make a big jump. You got guys like Kyan Klein back there, and Ian Olson and Jack Balasek, some younger guys, certainly some skilled guys, but some growing pains certainly to come with it. Got Isaiah Brown playing a little corner as well. We thought he'd be more of a kind of a linebacker with that size of his, but Timmins able to escape danger. He's going to throw on the run across the middle. Way to buy time by Timmins. Enough to open things up, and the receiver, Braden White, helps his quarterback out and streaks across the middle and brings in the catch and moves the sticks. So give credit to Timmins, looking a lot like a young Ben Roethlisberger there. Not the decrepit version we saw last year, but it's neither here nor there. So a timeout will be taken here, and we too will take a timeout on High Top Sports Network. Stay tuned for more here on High Top Sports Network. And we're back. A nice carry there by the Golden Rams. And coming out of that timeout with certainly a nice play call, it seems, drawn up. And I think, Ryan, we might have the audio figured out here. We'll see. Welcome aboard.
Test.
You're not going to hear yourself, but
okay.
You get that part figured out here, Ryan. But what have you noticed here so far?
I'll tell you, the Rams have done exactly what I thought they were going to try to do. I thought they were going to try to come out, possess the ball, keep Olsen off the field as much as possible, try to make a couple plays in the passing game just to keep him off balance. But Unfortunately, just haven't been able to stop the offense or even slow down the offense of Armstrong yet.
Cutting
Nice
the ball
looking drive here,
outside
though.
is number 1. That is obviously the aforementioned Aaron Randolph.
Brought down by number 1, Ryan Klein.
Yeah, I'm surprised they've.
Moves the ball down to the Armstrong.
I'm surprised they've come out and tried to play that press man look, cover 0, cover 1, one safety over the top, no help over the top with these corners on these Armstrong receivers. Armstrong is just so deep at receiver and so well coached. You've seen it time and again so far. Highlands defensive backs chasing after Armstrong receivers, and there's even been a couple passes missed and a couple dropped balls, or this game could be even a 21-0 game. So, but that being said, here you're Highlands, you're here, you have the ball at the 20-yard line, you're feeling good, you got a nice drive going. I think it's, you hate to say it this early in a game, but I think this drive is about as critical as it can get for Highlands because they haven't shown that they can stop Olsen in the offense of Armstrong. So they have to continue to score points and keep themselves in this game and hope to get a turnover down the road, especially with Armstrong getting the ball second half. This drive is very important that Highlands finishes this drive.
Yeah, I never want to say that something looks lopsided, especially when it's between two teams that are almost identical in record, certainly in conference record in this case. But really, it's looked very one-sided. I don't want to say that I'm surprised that these teams, if I were just giving it the eye test, have the same conference record and are battling essentially right now for a section record, Ryan. But really, Armstrong doing the things that good teams do, and then the Rams, on the other hand, kind of making those mental mistakes that you don't typically see from a team of this caliber. And there's another occasion right there, Ryan. A flag will.
Yeah, it happened on their last drive. I mean, they started off, they had that 15-yard personal foul on Chrisman, got fortunate, got bailed out with that penalty, and then, had a couple penalties of their own, drove them back. Then they were in third and deep, and this offense is not designed for third and deep. This offense reminds me very much of a Tim Tebow, Florida type of offense. They spread the ball out to run the ball. They throw the ball just enough to keep you honest. They have a big physical quarterback that can wear you down as the game goes on, but you cannot fall behind with an offense like this. And if you do fall behind, you cannot afford to go down 3 touchdowns. This is a very important drive.
There's a deep pass down the middle of the field, and well defended by the Riverhawks.
What a recovery by Chrisman there. I'll tell you, he was beat. And Timmins that time, I think he put touch on. I think he thought he was more open than he was. He put touch on as if he had a wide open tight end in the back of the end zone off a play action, but that was not the case. That's a ball, and he has a good, strong arm. That's a ball that you get back there. You just got to drive that ball home. You just got to drive that ball in there. He's going to look at film, and he's going to want that one back.
Yeah, those opportunities are far and few between in a game like this. And you probably heard me saying there a moment ago that I think Armstrong, if there is a weakness or an area that they would like to see some more improvement in, it's probably that secondary here. But certainly I think they've held their own as the season's gone on, and I think have made great strides.
Yeah, that was a breakdown, though, no doubt, Joe. That was a breakdown. You called it. And Timmins could have made him pay. He just put a little too much touch on that, gave Chrisman a chance to come back and make a play.
3rd and 10, Timmins running around. This guy buys some time and wide open. Timmins, for a second time, able to buy enough time for someone to get open. This time, it is Randolph 4-6.
And what a play by Timmins. And what a play by the offensive line as well. A lot of times when you have a quarterback running around for that amount of time, you get some kind of a block in the back, you get some kind of a hold. But the Highlands offensive line was able to do a nice job there of maintaining their blocks just enough, giving Timmins just enough time to use his athleticism and run around and wait for somebody to open up. And in that time, he did a nice job. He still put some touch on the ball, but he put enough velocity on it to beat the coverage. Did a great job of extending the play and finding his man in the core of the end zone. Amazing play by a leader there, getting his team back, getting his team feeling good about themselves. And now Highlands, we have a ball game now. Highlands is in the game. Now if you're Highlands, you're saying, okay, you know what, kind of like Rocky. He took all the punches. Took all the punches from Mr. T, and now he came back and he put the mouthpiece in and he delivered a punch. So now if you're Highlands, you're thinking, okay, we're in this game. And if you're Armstrong, that was a chance to kind of crush the dreams and come back and kind of almost finish them off. but now you're in a game. So if you're Armstrong, you got to keep doing what you've been doing. You got to keep finding the right matchups, mixing the run and pass the way you've been doing, using the run to set up the pass the way they've been doing with the big shots. They haven't really had too many intermediate routes other than the short one for the first down to Olsen on time on the sideline. Other than that, it's been a lot of just longer shots. And they're going to have to continue to do that and set it up with the running game, because if they go too much one-dimensional, Armstrong, these defensive ends, you got a Division I recruit defensive end. These guys, you cannot let them just pin their ear back. So if you're Armstrong, you got to continue to use the run to set up the pass to give you enough time to operate. If you're Highlands, I think you got to adjust some things, because you've tried this cover 1, cover 0, man coverage. You know, thinking, okay, our guys can beat their guys. Well, at this point in the game, that's not the case. They're getting beat on these deep routes. So if you're Highlands, you got to start mixing up some coverages or start sending some extra rushers, extra blitzers, try to get in the face of Olsen and make him scramble and try to make a play. But either way, you know, we got a game here, folks. This is exactly what you want. You got a big heavyweight matchup. You know, it's on TV. It's the game of the week in the Whippeal. It's got playoff implications. It's for the conference title. You know, and this is exactly what the game you want if you're a fan.
Yeah, Ryan, I wasn't expecting a Mr. T reference, but leave it to you. We achieved that here. So
we did it, Joe.
We did it. I think we might have done it here with the sound as well, but I'm hearing a little bit of a hum there, but hopefully you guys don't hear that out there. That's just in our ears. But, yeah, Ryan, that's a great breakdown. And like you said, it seemed like Armstrong could have maybe really put their foot on the gas pedal and continue to create separation as far as just momentum is concerned. But instead, Highlands, and give credit to Timmins, that ability to buy time.
And especially coming off the missed throw, that's what you look for in your leader, you know. He came off the missed throw. Actually, he missed another throw on the other side of the field. He missed a couple throws in that drive, but he hung in there, and he just kept grinding away. And, you know, with his athleticism and size and strength, and he has a strong arm. I mean, Timmins has a very strong arm. So that time he just did a great job of extending the play. The offensive line did a great job of not making any mistakes, not doing any dumb holding or blocking the backs, giving the quarterback a chance to make a play, and that's exactly what he did. Kept his team in the game. And now if you're Highlands, you gotta put on a defensive effort. You gotta show you can stop Caden Olsen in this high-powered offense.
Yeah, Armstrong, a tough offense at that to stop, and right there, the Highlands fan base and the players on the field kind of showing a little bit of grit there, and certainly it seems like that last score made a difference.
And I think if you're Armstrong, you know, if you're Highlands, you have to show that. Even if you take a couple of bad late hit penalties or something, you hate to say that, but you have to show Armstrong that you're willing to match the physicality. We've been saying it all year with Armstrong's opponents. Outside of Aliquip, who obviously can bring it, and that was a great experience for Armstrong early in the season. There hasn't been another team that has challenged Armstrong physically. It's been able to match their physicality for 4 quarters. And I think if you're Highlands, you got to make some hits, and you got to send a message. And in that kickoff, they hit them.
Olsen takes the snap, fakes the handoff to the general. It goes deep. This ball thrown on a dime. And Ian Olsen there. He's past the 30, past the 20, past the 10. Ian Olsen for the score. Armstrong. Wow, these go routes, Ryan.
Well, the thing about it, and we said it, I think they have to make an adjustment. Highlands has to make an adjustment. I think all season, if you watch the film, if you studied these guys at all, these guys have overmatched every single team that they've faced with their defense. They've been able to go man-to-man on every single team and match up and play man-to-man and leave the inside guys open to make the plays in the running game. But in this game, against this group of receivers, against this caliber of quarterback and this offensive line, you are not going to be able to do that. And I'm surprised that they're sticking with this. They've been beaten out 3 times. So I'll be shocked if they don't make some kind of an adjustment, because they're not getting pressure up front. If you're going to go man on the backside, you got to get instant pressure on the quarterback. And right now, that offensive line of Armstrong is doing a nice job of holding up a very stout defensive front 7 from getting to the quarterback. Olsen has all kinds of time, and then there's man coverage on the backside.
it's a recipe for disaster, and they're going to have to make a decision to either bring a couple extra rushers or leave a couple extra people back there and try to confuse Olsen, or this is going to continue to be a nightmare for that defense.
What just a heartbreaking play if you're Highlands. You finally score, you show some signs of life, and some promising signs of life at that, with the nice play by Timmins buying that time and evading some tacklers, and then and Randolph getting in the end zone for you, a guy that you want to get going, and just like that, Armstrong able to strike and put 6 on the board, and actually put 7 on the board, Ryan, after the extra point was good.
Well, one thing that is new territory for this Highlands team, they have never faced a quarterback, including Olsen last year, that can advance the ball 65 yards in the air. And this is a night where there's no wind to contend with. It's a nice night. It's not too cold. So Olsen is able to throw the ball 65 yards in the air. These defensive backs have never had to, in practice or in a game situation, have to maintain good coverage for 65 yards. It's an adjustment for them, and the good thing if you're Highlands is, they've come out and thrown Armstrong. Olsen's thrown 4 or 5 haymakers at them and connected every time. Somehow, this game's only 21-7 at this point. So if you're Highlands, you're saying, okay, we have a chance to make some adjustments, and we have a chance to get back in this game. Now, this drive here needs to be a long, methodical drive that ends with a touchdown if you're Highlands. And if you're Armstrong, you're looking to come out, you got to smell some blood in the water here. You're trying to come out and cause a turnover, big hit, interception, something like that early. Keep that momentum. If you're Highlands, you're looking to exact opposite, steal it back.
I like what you said there, Ryan, long and methodical. You almost want to kind of throw some punches yourself and kind of be physical, and usually that's going to happen if you have a long drive and you do what Timmins did right there and run the ball up the middle for a nice gain, we'll say 6 yards.
And Timmins, the more you watch Timmins, the more that you realize he is Western PA's current version of Tim Tebow. He really is. He's a big physical guy. He's a presence. He's athletic. He's fast. He has a good arm. He's not the most accurate quarterback in the world, but he can advance the ball and he can throw the ball with authority. And using all of those attributes, you're seeing him start to settle into this game. That last drive, he missed a couple throws, came back, made a great throw, and now, you're starting to see the running game mix in too. So he's starting to make, he's a prideful guy. This is a prideful team. They're 8-0, and they're playing at home. So they're not going to go easy.
8-0 for a reason as well. And here's Timmins, cuts it outside, but met in the backfield. There's a flag down. This will be a curious call. Didn't really see anything happen in the area in which that flag was thrown. He'd already been hit by number 65 for the Riverhawks, Owen Kamer, who we called his name quite a few times already here tonight, Ryan. And that looks like it's going to go against the Rams.
Well, Murr, as they call him, he's a stout. He is a guy that comes under the radar, but I tell you what, he deserves a lot of credit. He is a standout left tackle, and he's doing a heck of a job tonight against a Division I recruit of keeping Caden Olsen from even hitting the turf. He's doing a great job on the offensive side. He's done a great job on the offensive side all year. One of the leaders, if not the leader, of that offensive line. And then on the defensive side, he's stout. He just doesn't make mistakes. He's a smart kid. He's a strong kid. He does his job, and he creates opportunities for others. That time he just took it upon himself. But a lot of times he'll hold up some guys, and he'll create opportunities for those backers to come up and make a play.
Murr. Not K. You're the second half. Like if your nickname is ever the case, you'd be cool. Is that how it works?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
How would you call me then?
I don't know.
Odes?
It's a new one, but kids are creative.
They are, and great point there. The creativity of me, it's boundless. But run up the middle there for the Golden Rams. It looked like that was Timmins on the keeper. And
you look at the backside once again, Joe. If you look at the backside again, he had a man open. He had a man wide open down the seam. If that's the one thing I've noticed in this game, Timmins, he tends to kind of and it's common amongst a lot of quarterbacks in high school. They kind of get that happy feet. They kind of feel that pressure.
It's a great movie, by the way.
And it is a great movie. And they move around too early, and then it causes their vision to be off, and they miss that opening. We've seen it. We've seen him kind of miss deep throws, a couple deep throws late because he caught the guy, but he was off balance. And you know what? He's just going to have to hang in there a little extra and deliver the ball. If he just hangs in there a little extra and is patient and trusts his offensive line, he has guys open downfield.
It's kind of like a basketball player when your coach says, don't put your head down when you're dribbling. You know, and
Exactly.
keep your head up court.
That's exactly what it is.
And if he'd keep his head up court, after another penalty by Highlands,
exactly
it's going to be a delay of game.
Now that being said, it's very easy for us to sit up in the press box with nobody pressuring us and say that because we can see the field. For a high school quarterback, that is advanced next level quarterbacking to be able to do that and trust and have that feel and presence. He has that ability. He showed that on extending the play in the end zone. He just has to trust himself and use that and draw from that and try to hit that kind of a play a couple more times because he has opportunities downfield against this defense right now.
You mentioned the movie Happy Feet tonight as well. So if you had that on your bingo card, folks, nice throw and catch here. Kind of cuts back to the middle. Does the receiver, who else but Aaron Randolph.
We're giving the listeners, if they just kind of stay tuned and write down all these movies, it gives you they'll get a whole winter plan.
I'm just thinking the guy sitting in his recliner right now listening to us just like looks at his wife and goes, "What's Happy Feet?"
He's like, I'm trying to listen.
But the parents out there have kids, like the age range of mine.
Kids, grandkids. I mean, Happy Feet's a winner.
I just know there's some guy right now who just looked at his wife and goes, "What's Happy Feet?"
Put it on your list. If you're questioning us, just put it on your list. Trust us.
So a punt by Highlands, and they've got some good. That's through the hands of Olson. Ball on the ground, but covered up by
play
Chrisman.
by Chrisman. I'll tell you what, that could have been a huge momentum change in this game.
Wow.
Crispin did a great job of not giving up on the play, being aware, and falling on that ball. That's a rare. You don't see Ian Olson make a mistake like that very often. I've been watching him since he was fourth grade, and I've probably seen that kind of a play 3 times. So Highland's very fortunate to get a play like that out of him. That punter, he has a leg. He's shown he has a leg. He can put the boot to it.
Yeah, and he has a 60-yarder earlier in the game, and there showing off the leg once more. So Armstrong will send 4 receivers out there with Patton flanked to Olson's side, and Olson's going to run this one up the middle. Slides, I thought he was going to pull the Kenny Pickett from the bowl game last year, kind of that fake slide. But
that's what's not fair. If you're a defense trying to play Caden Olson in this offense, you got to worry about the general. You got to worry about the quick bubble screens, the quick hit screens. You got to worry about all of those option plays that they run. And then you got to try to defend downfield 65 yards. And then you got to watch because he can run on you.
A weird formation, looked like a knee was going to be taken. Highlands, no idea what was happening. I didn't know what was happening. And it turns into an Isaiah Brown scamper for about 15 yards, Ryan. Have you seen anything like that this year so far from Armstrong?
Only in practice.
Of course, yeah.
These guys, Frank Fabian, when you talk about a bag of tricks, he has a bag of tricks, and he spends a lot of time working on that bag of tricks. That's one of them right there. He just got out the bag of tricks. Second time in this game.
It's like Santa Claus.
Second time in the game, he's got out the bag of tricks. I like that one earlier where Olson's like, "Oh, I'm confused, coach. What's the call? What's the call?" Ball snapped to the general up the middle for about 7 yards. Oh, my.
Kai Klein. We've called his name again a couple times.
And that time, we mentioned Kamer earlier, and Kamer did an amazing job. If you want to teach your son, your kid on your team how to pass block, beautiful pass block with a little chip from the general, gave Olson a chance to step up and make that throw, and just a beautiful play. And then the general gets rewarded by an up-the-middle run right after he made that nice chip, block, good protection. Then the middle opens up, and the general comes up.
You know, I said he's the perfect running back, Ryan, for this Armstrong team as he gets another handoff, spins out of the first tackle, brought down at maybe the half-yard line, just short, but a great effort indeed there, Ryan. But a great compliment to this pass game is Alex Patton, where there's a quick snap. Olson's going to push forward, and that's a hard guy to stop. All 6'5" of him into the end zone, and the Riverhawks.
6'5", 222 behind that offensive line is very difficult to stop for a half yard.
And the Riverhawks really just unable to be stopped right now, Ryan, on offense, looking like a juggernaut as they put 6 more on the board and looking to tack on 1 more here at the extra point.
And I think I said it earlier, and I think it's becoming even more and more evident as the game goes on. Highlands is going to have to gamble I understand. You come in, you're 8-0, you're playing at home, and you want to go toe-to-toe with these guys. But at this point, that is not working. Going toe-to-toe is not working. You're going to have to gamble. You're either going to have to gamble up front, bring in extra pressure, or you're going to have to gamble with zone schemes in the back, try to confuse the offense, try to make the offense work their way down the field with 15, 16 play drives, make a mistake. But they cannot continue, in my opinion, to just play straight up against these guys. Because right now, Coach Fabian and this offense, they have their number, and they are working them over. So they're going to have to do something to shake things up and gamble. That being said, it's
pull Kenny Rogers, in other words.
It's 28-7, 4:27 left. If you're Highlands, you got to be thinking, we do not want to give Caden Olson the ball again in the half. We want a chance to go into the half, make our adjustments. We got to possess this ball. We got to work the ball down the field. We're just thinking one first down to the next first down, and we got to end it with some form of points. Because if you don't, you give them the ball in the second half, this game could get ugly quick.
Well, as Mr. Rogers, and I mean the Kenny version, not the not the one that Western Pennsylvania is more familiar with, Kenny Rogers, you got to know when to hold him, and you sure as heck need to know how to fold him, Ryan.
You do, and right now I think you got to fold this scheme. This scheme is not working. I get the scheme. You have a lot of good athletes on that Highlands defense. You're very prideful. You come out. You have your system. You want to go man to man. You want to play straight up. We can out physical the other team. I understand that. I respect that. It's worked for them this year. But this is a different monster that they're up against tonight in Armstrong. This is a monster in Armstrong that has went toe to toe with Aliquippa and went 4 quarters and looked up at the scoreboard, 7 minutes left, and were tied. And they were the more physical team in that matchup, in my opinion. So, you're going up against a different monster you went up against this year. It's not working. I'm sure Highlands is going to make the adjustments in the second half. The question is it too late? Because they don't have a quick strike offense. They don't have the kind of offense that can get points on the board quickly. They rely on more methodical, long, running drives that consume time. So, it's a tough one. But this drive, we've said it with the last 4 drives, but this drive is. I think it's absolutely paramount that they get some form of points, even if it's a field goal. They gotta get a drive where they don't give the ball back to Armstrong, give their defensive coordinator a chance to start scheming for the second half, start making his adjustments, and keep that defense off the field and put the ball down the field, and they gotta score.
Yeah, a lot of action out there on the field here in Natrona Heights, and certainly a lot of fun words being used here in the Schaefer's HVAC broadcast booth by both Ryan and myself.
Sean's getting his money's worth.
Oh, absolutely. He did last week when Doug Flanders managed to mention Schaefer's HVAC about the better part of 74 times. It was magical, though. I enjoyed it. Magical is the only word.
That's value. As a sponsor, there's a lot of value there.
But you'll have to tell us what's happening at Sprankles here, Doug. I almost called you. I've never even done a game with Doug.
Well, my brother's Doug.
That's what I mean. I don't know why I said Doug. I guess I was thinking.
Doug Sprankle, if he's watching. He watches a lot of these.
What would a Doug Sprankle, Ryan Sprankle broadcast sound like?
It'd be interesting. We would go on a lot of tangents. We need some.
Would I need a bleep button?
We would need somebody to keep us. No, we would need somebody to keep us on task. We'd start talking about other things that are going on.
Hunter Reed, I believe his birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday to Hunter. That ball. And nice run back. And a little shove there at the end via the return man.
I'll tell you, I want to shout out to
Burford.
One of Armstrong, if not Armstrong's #1 fan, Turney Luke. This is only the second game in 15 years that he's missed. He's at home. He's listening to the broadcast tonight. So hello, Turney. We miss you here, and we'll catch you. We'll catch you back soon. I'll see you tomorrow. I have to pick up some hats down at the Turney's place.
I saw Turney last week at Armstrong. He provided us a nice little meal there, so thank you to Turney for that, and a little dessert afterwards. He's
got the
fudge.
best snacks.
And some fudge at the end.
Best snacks.
It's delicious.
He's a master.
So Highlands, as you said, trying to generate something, get something going here before this first half expires, but only 4:21 left on the clock. So Timmins, the little keeper there, looking very Tim Tebow-like, as you said there, but met by Isaiah Brown, but after a gain of about 6, Ryan.
And another thing, Highlands, when they go in at the half, I guarantee you the coaches are going to really try to get them fired up. The offensive line just needs to hold. It's easier said than done. It's a tough defense here. But they got to try to hold those blocks just another half second. Even another half second gives Timmins a chance to get his shoulder square downfield and get that momentum going downfield and get the extra 4 or 5 yards on the carry rather than just having to grind and churn for 3-4 yards.
Yeah, not a lot of, he said, it looks like they're going to try to take their time. Nearly a horse collar there.
A horse collar. It could have been called, actually, I think.
But
it was borderline.
You kind of said it right, and I believe your strategy is probably the more accurate and justifiable one. And kind of take time off the clock, kind of lay some blows here. Don't be maybe Armstrong's offense and try to be so quick with it. You kind of want to punish them a little bit and enforce your will if you're Highlands and really change the tone. And I think a good way of doing so is being a little physical. And you can really only do that if you do kind of run the ball. And this team clearly, that's their MO. And if you're able to do that and kind of lay some blows while you do it, then all the better if you're the Golden Rams.
One of my dad's favorite expressions is the best offense, the best defense is good offense. Keeping the other team off the field, your defense is going to improve.
Nice cut back there by Randolph, but man, oh man, a shoestring tackle keeps Randolph from even bigger gain and a first down, just 3 yards short.
And again,
Kamer, wow.
Kamer came off his block
downfield
there and took a great angle and saved probably another 20 yards. I mean, he's having a heck of a game. Not only in protection, his protection has been outstanding against a Division I recruit and Division I caliber defensive lineman. But not only that, but his ability on defense. He's made some serious plays. That play saved 20 to 25 yards.
Balling out, as the kids say.
And he's a heck of a guy, too. Helped me put up a 10 a couple weeks ago.
All right, Kamer. Nice to hear. Here's a ball by Timmins. A little underthrown, but not enough that disrupted the nice route there.
That was a good job. You know what? It's almost like he has a headset because he took the criticism of us a couple of series ago of not hanging in there that extra half second, of not keeping his eyes downfield. That time, he did an amazing job of doing exactly that, keeping his eyes downfield, hanging in the pocket that extra half second, and delivering. It wasn't a perfect ball, but it was enough, and it was on time enough to get the ball, to get the job done.
If Chandler Timmins is wearing a headset and listening to High Top Sports Network, like all you fine people out there, then he's just as smart as you folks. He chose to do the right thing here on Friday night, and that's spend it with us here on High Top Sports Network and the Trib Live High School Sports Network on this Richard G. Center YMCA game night. As Timmins throws the ball outside, and this one, the receiver not even looking for it.
It's a shame. It was a miscommunication.
Yep.
Timmins had the right read. It was the coverage was deep. The coverage was 8 to 9 yards off, and they're having a discussion right now. That was an option route, and Timmins read it right. He threw the ball 7 yards on the dot. The receiver didn't make the right adjustment to the coverage, and that was a missed opportunity for Highlands.
1:26 left here in this second quarter. It's kind of teetering on if that would have been caught, that just an amount of time that you don't want to give Caden Olson the ball back. Because we saw it I think it was last week with about 40 seconds on the clock. He only needed 17 of it to put Armstrong in the end zone.
No, he's dangerous. I mean, when you can throw the ball 65 yards in the air, you can cover a lot of ground quick.
Here's a handoff on the option play to Randolph. Hey, he's going to dive into the end zone for 6. Handoff to Randolph. Pays off for Highlands. They find pay dirt here with 1:19 left in quarter number 2.
You talk about what the doctor ordered. That's exactly what the doctor ordered. You might have wanted to use a little more time, to your point, but at the same time, you'll take it where you can get it. And Timmins did a nice job of leading his team down the field. And, I liked how he made that adjustment after the throw. It wasn't a missed throw. He threw it exactly where he wanted. He made the right read. The receiver didn't. But instead of yelling at him, he showed great leadership. He went up to the receiver. They had a conversation, made the adjustment, and they're going to move forward with that adjustment. But nice job of coming back and finishing the drive and scoring. You got to feel good if you're Highlands on offense. Yeah. 2 of your last 3 drives have ended with a touchdown. So they're moving the ball now. Now they just got to try to find a way to somehow slow up this offense, this high-powered offense led by All-State and Penn recruit, Penn commit quarterback Caden Olson, and that is not an easy task.
Ryan, as a post-game sponsor here tonight, got plenty to talk about before then, and one thing I want to know is what's going on at Sprankle's Neighborhood Market right now.
Oh, man, Joe, I'll tell you. My dad, he's like a wizard. When it comes to meat
Does he have
pricing.
a hat? Like a pointy hat?
He should.
Okay.
He's a meat pricing wizard. That guy, if there's a deal on a great certified Angus steak or certified Angus roast, if there's a deal 3,000 miles away, somebody's going to call somebody who's going to call somebody who's going to call my dad, and my dad's going to order 5 pallets. And he's done that. I mean, right now you can't even get into our coolers and freezers. They're totally loaded with deals because literally the whole meat case is on sale. I mean, I cut meat today. The crew, they did more than I did. I mean, I got to give a shout out to them. But unbelievable deals all throughout the case. If you don't shop at Spraggles this week for meat, you honestly are going to be paying way too much money.
You're not bright, in other words.
No, I mean honestly, like
Woo.
you're gonna save tens, 50s, hundreds of dollars by shopping the meat case.
A little reverse on the kickoff there, Ryan.
Hashtag save on meat.
Absolutely. I'm going to probably have to get a steak now. Saturday steak.
I would recommend it. Rump roast, number 1 item, rump roast.
3 locations.
Get a certified Angus rump roast. They're beautiful.
You likely have one close to you, I figure.
Certified Angus rump roast. The only thing nicer than that is that run. That run was beautiful by Ian Olson. That was a great job of just cutting, churning, staying alive.
Cutting like you were this morning.
Yeah, he took about a 12-yard. What most we got 12 yards. He got about 30 yards.
So he sets Armstrong up in good field position, 60 yards to the end zone now. Probably their best field position to start a drive following change of possession. And late blitz there and brought down.
There it is. There's the adjustment. Great job by the Highlands coaching staff making the adjustment. The delayed blitz, gambling a little bit, bringing that linebacker, leaving an opening in the backside, but willing to do that to get that initial pressure. And if you make a quarterback, I don't care what level you're at, you make a quarterback uncomfortable, they're going to remember that hit, and it's going to cause their clock to get a little quicker.
It's a 2nd and 19 now, and you see Armstrong kind of taking their time. So that's the difference between Armstrong maybe being more aggressive here, Ryan, and trying to get to the end zone, and maybe taking your time. And they'll still take shots probably, but certainly the objective same, but how they go about it maybe a little different now as they hand the ball off. And
changes the whole perspective.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden, if you're Armstrong, you think, whoa, wait a minute, what was that? Now we got to adjust to that. While we adjust that, let's run a couple save plays. That's what Highlands wants. Drain the clock.
Yep. There's 14 seconds left on the clock.
That was a massive call. Great call by the coach.
Delayed blitz, and you really haven't seen Caden Olson get hit like that this season in the backfield, kind of that squarely, because he's really good at evading hits like that. Despite his size, he's still pretty nimble afoot.
And he's super smart at identifying pre-snap reads and identifying blitzers pre-snap. That was a great job of just totally disguising that blitz, making it look like you're in coverage, and at the last possible second, giving up your position and making that delayed rush with a fleet-footed linebacker, strong safety, and getting that pressure and getting him to the ground. That's a whole other challenge. A lot of people get the Caden Olson, but getting the 6'5", 220-pound guy to the ground is a whole other story. That was just a beautiful call and a beautiful play. And if you're Highlands, you want to build on that going into the second half.
Yeah, I want to thank a couple of our sponsors, of course, one of which are our good friends at UFP Parker. If you're looking for a career change, one that's a place that sees you as not just a number and not just another person, as almost a family member, then UFP Parker might be the place for you. Check them out today at ufpi.com/careers. Again, not just a job, a place where you find a career and a place where you feel at home. Kind of like Ryan and I here in the Schaefer's HVA broadcast booth. Feel right at home.
I mean, Schaefer's, they do a great job of constructing this booth. I mean, I feel welcome up here.
But as we always do, we're going to turn it over to the band here for halftime. We'll be back for some analysis and some more reaction from the first half, one that has the Riverhawks up 28-14 here on this beautiful Friday night in October on High Top Sports Network. So for Ryan and myself, we'll see you on the other side.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show this evening as the Armstrong Riverhawks Marching Band appears to be ready for their halftime performance. Drum majors Emma Lindahl and Natalie Claypool, is your band ready?
I came in, I had a plan, I was getting ready to cut meat, everybody was in their positions, store was good. All of a sudden, the one season
Armstrong Riverhawks Marching Band, the building is here for performance.
Then my meat guys called. So I was like, okay, well, we're just gonna take it one step at a time. And it's gonna be 4 o'clock.
too hard? A lot of variables. Yeah, you just can't finish. What's that?
Next, we feature our Guardian Drumline band perform Fusion's Uprising, the lead single from their 2009 album, The Resistance.
I haven't seen any of them other than him. He's still in
show this evening. We go back to the year 2007 as the band closes their halftime show with Fall Out Boy's hit, Thanks for the Memory. From the 2022 Armstrong Riverhawk Marching Band. The Armstrong Riverhawk Marching Band is under the director, Mr. Jason Benesky, assistant director, Mrs. Melissa Benesky, choir instructor, Mrs. Sarah Smith and Mrs. Courtney Eiler, drumline instructor, Mr. Rob Breen, marching instructor, Mr. Jason Dakota, woodwind instructor, Mrs. Charlene Dakota, brass instructor, Mr. Lou Rybar, and marching instructor and the voice of the Riverhawk Marching Band, Mr. Jake Cannon. This week's halftime drill is designed by Mr. Robert Harris. Ladies and gentlemen, the Armstrong Riverhawk Marching Band would like to thank you for your kind attendance this evening. Go Hawks! Hey, Rams fans, let's hear it again for the pride of Highlands. Make some noise! Under the field leadership of drum majors Ella Hickman and Luke Zamora, with drill team captain Emma Pomego and color guard captain Brenda Bonnet. We're proud to present the 2022-23 edition of the Highlands Varsity Marching Band. Tonight's show is a throwback to the 90s. Beautiful harmonies, entertaining dance moves, and melodies that get stuck in your head and put a smile on your face, whether you want to admit it or not. We're going to celebrate music from two of the most famous boy bands to help you define the genre. There's no better song to kick things off than Everybody Backstreet's Back. Backstreet Boys originally formed in Orlando, Florida. Having regrouped in 2005, they are still touring and making music today. Our show continues with a hit from their 1999 album Millennium. This is I Want It That Way. Welcome back to the field, the Highlands Middle School 7th and 8th grade band team. As they join the high school band playing Go Highlands. Feel free to clap and sing along to cheer on the team.
Set the spread out, Joe? 13. No, mine are 13. Really? Caden just passed his quarterback coach. His quarterback, instructor. That's who he and Colt go there first. That's ironic.
I'd like to recognize those 8th graders who are regular members of the marching band.
That's their quarterback.
Give the crowd a wave and thank you for playing such a special role in our program.
Adams and Mike.
And now getting back to our regularly scheduled program, the third season of the show was the second single in the Backstreet Boys. It became a top 10 hit for the 14th country and broke the record for the longest running #1 on MTV's Voting Request Live. Featuring our color guard drill team squad, EACB larger than life.
He's one of their quarterback instructors. Quarterback guru, they hate to be called that. Olympian leaders?
choreography and viewer's choice at the 2000 MTV Music Video Awards and was nominated for Record of the Year and Best Pop Group Performance at the 2001 Grammys. We leave you with 5 by 5.
Was that insane?
Yeah, that's, yeah. Earlier we got the voice. We're bringing my first question and then come back to break. Sorry, Doug Breeze.
Percussion instructor, Corey Beck. Drill team choreographer, Mallory Stefano. Color guard choreographer, Melissa Calendar. Book by Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber. Director of band at the Highlands High School, Mr. Matthew Barrett. At the conclusion of tonight's game, please stick around for our traditional rendition of Amazing Grace.
That's so funny to be a quarterback instructor, I'd call it.
Steffi's Country Catering prepares home-style made-from-scratch dishes that will have you convinced Mom made it. Whatever the occasion, Steffi's Country Catering will have you coming back for every event year-round. Find us on Facebook to place an order or to see our Sunday specials, or call 724-54-85047.
In life, some things just go together, like a burger and fries. And home and auto insurance from State Farm. Combine and save.
In Ford City, talk to State Farm agent Ryan Bowser today.
Armstrong Indoor Athletics, located at 132 South Grand Street Avenue in downtown Katanning, offers a state-of-the-art training facility and top-tier instruction by experienced coaches to help turn your youngster into the best baseball or softball player they can be. Batting cage and bullpen lane rentals are available for 30 to 60-minute sessions, and you can also sign your baseball or softball player up for private hitting, pitching, fielding, and catching instruction with our knowledgeable staff. Be sure to visit Armstrong Indoor Athletics online at aia.team or call them at 724-599-9761 for more information today.
Since we're not allowed to tailgate, the deli at Franklin Village Shop and Save is getting ready to couchgate. It may be even better than being at the game. Since you have to stay home, treat yourself to delicious foods from our deli. Do you like barbecue ribs? We've got them. How about fresh roasted chicken legs? That's one of Shop and Save's specialties. We make salads and wraps, meat and cheese trays, and more. So before you get comfy on the couch and enjoy the game, stop by Franklin Village Shop and Save and pick up delicious, ready-to-eat food now. Life doesn't slow down when the everyday aches and pains have you sidelined. So get back on the field sooner with the care of Olson Chiropractic. Dr. Ryan Olson and his staff treat a variety of conditions for patients of all ages. Don't jeopardize your quality of life and the moments along the way. Let Olson Chiropractic help you find the healthier, younger you. Call Olson Chiropractic at 724-548-1040 to schedule a consultation or see a full list of services online at olson-chiro.com.
Tonight's presentation of high school football on High Top Sports Network is presented by the Richard G. Snyder YMCA. Principles put into practice through programs that build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all.
Score at halftime, Armstrong 28, Highlands 14. Ryan, we just got word that Caden Olson moved in his rarefied error in that first half.
Back deep for Armstrong, number 1, Kyle Klein, number 2, Ian Olson, and number 10, Joe Barlow. Kicking off for the goal Rams, be number 42, Burton Bavinsack. Taken by number 1, Kyle Klein, brought down by number 32, Brennan Hayes, and number 20, Landon Figueroa. Armstrong take over at their own 30-yard line, first and 10.
You can't just continue to go toe-to-toe because you got the top. Even that second half, they hit off. They showed a lot more sign on offense, but they still were only able to tie Armstrong's output. They're going to have to take chances like they did with that delayed blitz late in the half. Got to do some things different to try to flip the tables and get a couple extra possessions.
We'll pass to number 1, Kyle Klein, brought down by number 12, Chandler Timmins, number 75, Noah Leslie.
That time they
pick up a 3, second and 7.
Couple yards game. Looks already like more linebackers. They're showing blitz. They showed and they brought with a different guy. Now that being said, Caden Olson put the ball right on the money and a rare drop by his brother that time. A rare drop by Ian Olson. That was a great job of Caden stepping up in the pocket, taking the hit, and delivering a great ball. Rare drop there. I guarantee Ian's not very happy with that, but he'll make it up for sure. But again, Highlands doing exactly what we said they had to do. They came out and they're mixing it up. They're showing different fronts. They're showing blitzers that aren't coming, and they're bringing guys that weren't going to come.
Going deep is Olson. He hits Isaiah Brown perfectly in stride, and he's off to the races. And in for 6. Toast again is the secondary of Highlands. Olson just torching his secondary. They're at his mercy right now. And with that awesome stat you mentioned about Caden there a moment ago, Caden Olson, he goes out and throws maybe his best pass of the night there, Ryan, hitting Isaiah Brown perfectly in stride. He didn't have to break stride even slightly.
Both of those last balls, those last 2 balls Caden threw just showed why he's one of the top 50 passers all time in the PIAA.
Jeez.
Because, I mean, he was under pressure. There was a free blitz both times. Highlands did a nice job of mixing it up, getting a little pressure, making it uncomfortable. A lot of guys would have thrown the ball, been uncomfortable. He put 2 dimes into the defense. And, you know, he has such a great vision of the field. Spotted the open man, spotted the matchup he liked, found the matchup, took advantage of the matchup of both instances. Unfortunately, Ian Olson wasn't able to handle the last pass, but that time put some air under it. Brown ran under it, had his man beat by 3 yards. Olson put it right on the money for another long touchdown. And if you're Highlands now, what do you do? I mean, you came out, you made some nice adjustments, you showed some different things. But the bottom line is, if their guys beat your guys, if 3 of their guys can beat 3 of your guys, you can't help 3 guys. So, you know, it's just going to be identifying who doesn't have help and putting the ball on the money. And that's what's happened all night long. And, You know, unfortunately for Highlands, but fortunately for Armstrong, Caden Olson's able to keep finding matchups, and that offensive line, you can't underestimate the value of the Armstrong offensive line. They have been giving him a nice clean pocket for the most part all night. Even those 2 blitzes were chipped and you know, gave him enough time to step up and make the play. Just a great all-around offensive performance for Armstrong so far tonight.
I have a chance. I want to thank tonight's opening kickoff and fourth quarter sponsor, that of course DeMond Chiropractic. Leave the care to the caring professionals at DeMond Chiropractic in Manor Township. 3 generations of quality chiropractic care right in your backyard. It's easy to trust a name that's been around for so long, and that's why DeMond Chiropractic is a trustworthy place to be adjusted and avoid surgeries that you sometimes can do so when receiving chiropractic care. So thank you to DeMond Chiropractic, the opening kickoff and fourth quarter sponsor of tonight's game. So yeah, Ryan, you know, we're talking about the adjustments that need to be made at halftime, and I think the biggest adjustment that needed to be made by Highlands was that their defense against that deep ball, and Armstrong coming out and doing it again. And if there's any instance of it looking really easy tonight, that one was it, as Isaiah Brown basically just ran in a straight line with that great speed of his, and really had to do little else except put those big mitts of his up, catch it, and get into the end zone.
Well, you know, we mentioned Caden Olson setting records and continuing to climb up the charts of all-time leaders in passing in the PIAA and WIPIAL. You know, we're talking about the adjustments that Highlands needs to make, but let's not forget and let's not underestimate what we're seeing. We are seeing out of 450 programs in the PIAA, 100 years, 450 programs. That's 4,500 quarterbacks that have taken snaps. And, you know, usually you get a couple of quarterbacks throughout the season. Possibly 7,000 quarterbacks have taken snaps in the PIAA, and he's one of the top 50 of all time. So we can talk about adjustments, but when you're going up against a guy that has 3 years of experience, over 30 starts, has that kind of a crazy arm, good athleticism, good accuracy, and great awareness, studies more film than anybody, it's really difficult to slow a guy like that down, especially when you put 4 or 5 weapons that Armstrong has in these young gun receivers. It's just a tough matchup for any team.
Brought down by number 22, Rex Harmon, and number 10, Joe Bartolowicz.
2 of the young guns there, Rex Harmon, Joe Bartolowicz, 2 sophomores. That sophomore class is super strong for Armstrong, and 2 of them just came up and made a nice pop there on the return. 2 of my former players, my former Saint players, youth program. 2 great kids, great young men.
And let's give credit to this defense too. We talk so much about the offense and their exploits, Ryan, that this defense really showing up tonight and doing some special things as well, really complementing that great offense quite well.
Absolutely.
Off to Aaron
I mean, let's not forget, to your point, Joe. Let's not forget that this Highlands team. I mean, this is not a group of guys that just rolled off the couch. They are 8-0. They've beat Armstrong 2 straight years going into this game. They are a very prideful team, and they are a very talented team. And you know, they are not used to getting beat like this. You know, but this defense of Armstrong is very physical, very fast. A lot of youth on that defense. But enough senior leadership, especially with Kamer and Zablocki, Chrisman, you know, they will hit you, and they will hit you for 4 quarters.
There's a throw, a little low there, Ryan, but they're going to say.
The most amount of time he's had tonight, and he did a nice job of hanging in there, buying time, moving the pocket around, trying to find different you know, points to throw from, but great job on the backside by Armstrong. There was nothing there, and he went with the target that he had the best opportunity with there, but that was a tough completion, falling back, thrown to the other side, to the field side. That was a long throw, and just a tough angle to make there. He still almost made the completion, but just good job on the backside of Armstrong being disciplined, not letting anybody slip through the cracks.
So it looks like another penalty against Highlands, and that's maybe the one thing, Ryan, we did not talk about that really affected this Golden Rams team in the first half was the number of penalties at crucial times, too, nonetheless, that really hindered any kind of progress that they were trying to make on offense, especially.
Well, you know, we mentioned it when Armstrong went up against Aliquip earlier in the season and had a couple unfortunate early turnovers. You know, when you're an underdog, and you know, I think for the most part, a lot of people close to the game, close to the Whippeal, would say that Highlands, even though they were 8-0 at home, were a slight underdog in this game. When you're an underdog, you can't afford to make mistakes in a game like this. You got to pretty much play a perfectly clean game to offset the difference in ability and the difference in athletes.
And Timmins is going to keep this one, run it up the middle, stiff arm a defender, Isaiah Brown, and then be ripped down in Armstrong territory at the 29-yard line.
And that, you know, just shows how dangerous Timmins can be when he gets out of that open field. He's a big guy, he's mobile, he's fast, hard to bring down. And when he can get downfield with a little momentum and get his shoulders square, he is a lot to try to tackle. And, you know, he's shown a lot of leadership in this game. There's a lot of times where coming off big plays, the team kind of could have quit, but he just keeps fighting and keeps leading the team down the field. And Highlands, this game's not over for Highlands. I guarantee it. 9:30 left third quarter. They're thinking, let's get a score, let's get a stop, and let's make this a game.
Another keeper by Timmins there that runs it up the gut and gets about 3 yards, we'll say, Ryan. Really showing that option a lot tonight. And you've seen bits and pieces of success while running it with Randolph in the backfield with him.
And to your point earlier, Joe, they have had a lot of success on first down with running plays like that, creating manageable second downs. But too often they've had penalties, whether it be holding, whether it be offsides, whether it be illegal procedure. They've had penalties take those second and manageables and turn them into 2nd and 11, 2nd and 15, 2nd and 20. It's happened 4 or 5 times tonight. So let's see if they can stay disciplined and finish off, get the first down, get on to the next first down, and finish this drive.
Yeah, a crucial one certainly for the Golden Rams here, Ryan. It's kind of we've said it several times tonight, but this one seems to mean more than any, especially if Armstrong could do something, or Armstrong, doing something on their first drive. Here's a pass to the back of the end zone, and it's good.
What a throw by Timmins.
His best throw of the night.
What a throw by Timmins. Great job by the offensive line of picking everybody up, giving him a pretty clean pocket, but he still was under pressure. He still had some heat. Did a nice job of retreating, giving himself the space, and just surveying the field. Found his man deep on the deep post and just threw an absolute dime to the goal post and hit his man with a foot in. I think he only got 1 foot down back there, but just a great job. Big play by Timmins. A much-needed big play to get the team back into the game.
And the Golden Rams with a huge response there, Ryan, much needed after Armstrong was able to reach pay dirt on their first possession here in the second half. And it's still a ball game. It's Armstrong 35, Highlands 21 here on this Richard G. Snyder YMCA game night on High Top Sports Network and the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's a battle now. It looked like Armstrong was maybe going to run away and hide early on, Ryan, but a big response at maybe the biggest all night. You know, if Armstrong that comes out and gets Brown on a go route down the field, and they put another touchdown on the board. And as I said, it's one of those moments where you pretty much have to do it yourself, or this Armstrong team that's just been building steam really ever since that Dozick Zablocki big hit early on in the game would just continue to snowball, but instead the Golden Rams putting their foot down, and a great throw by Chandler Timmins, his best throw of the night, and a nice job of staying in bounds and kind of spatial awareness there by the receiver to get those feet down and know where he was to give the Golden Rams 6 back.
Timmins showed his arm strength. He is far above average arm strength. He went back and fired that ball about 44, 45 yards in the air. Nice on time to the back of the end zone to a deep breaking post pattern. It was a great response and a absolutely necessary response for Highlands. But, you know, right now it's 35-21. You're down 14 points. But there's 8:24 to go in the third quarter. You have tons of game. One thing you are going to have to do, though, is figure out a way to steal a couple possessions. You're going to have to, you know, onside kick, maybe an onside kick, maybe a double inside blitz, you know, something. You're going to have to change something. You're going to have to do something to try to steal a possession at some point, because the defense at this point hasn't shown that they've been able to stop Armstrong for the most part. You know, I don't even think Armstrong's punted yet. I don't remember a punt for Armstrong.
We got people out there saying they can't find the game. Well, it's on more places than Facebook. Just go to hightopsportsnetwork.com. It'll be right there at the top of the page. You can't miss it. Kind of like Sprankles there on McKean Street. Can't miss it.
Can't miss it.
So yeah, an interesting game now, Ryan. It's I'm excited to see what happens here. You're going to really see what both of these teams are made of, especially Armstrong, kind of in a position that maybe they haven't had to be in. Maybe the closest example would be Aliquippa, but kind of holding things off and trying to weather that comeback from a really skilled and quality team. And we'll see how they fare here as Kai and Klein able to get out to about the 37-yard line here with 8:17 left. And another thing you said, Ryan, in that first half, that first drive, well, I guess Armstrong's had the football too to start, but 8:17 left here. They were methodical, I think, in that drive, but they didn't waste any time. So you saw a nice variety of plays, but taking that opportunity as they did, and Timmins finding his receiver open, kind of striking at the kind of one of those opportunities that have seemed kind of rare for the Golden Rams here tonight going down the field. Here's a blitz, screen, Isaiah Brown. He's going to have some open space. Kind of too fast for his own blocker. Gets out in front of him and brought down at the 46-yard line. But that one might be coming back. It looks like some laundry on the field.
Well, that could have been a roughing the passer call, to be honest with you, on Highlands. That was a late hit, and they drove Olsen into the ground. I don't think the official caught it. They're calling an ineligible receiver downfield. You see that a lot with those screen plays. The linemen get a little antsy, get downfield a little too quickly. Sometimes if the quarterback has to hold the ball a little bit, they get downfield to get a little. But you know what? Here we go. If you're Highlands, we said they had to steal a couple possessions. You don't necessarily need to turn over or run trick plays. It can be a couple penalties. So here you go. If you're Highlands, you have a chance. It's now 1st and 15. You know, this is their chance to get the ball back and possibly close the gap to 7. One thing I'm just wondering, you know, at some point I think you're going to see Highlands gamble a little more. They're playing that single deep safety. They have them about 15, 17 yards off the ball. But with a quarterback like Olsen, having one safety back there I mean, it's like having a baseball bat at a gunfight. I mean, you know, you're not.
He's hit as he throws, coming back for his Kai Klein, climbing the ladder, getting it, bringing it in Highlands territory.
What an adjustment by Kai Klein, another one of those sophomores. That was an amazing adjustment to the ball. Olsen got hit as he threw. The ball was not where he wanted it to end up. Klein did a great job of coming back, attacking the football, and making a huge catch.
And here's Ian Olsen with a screen play. He's off to the races, and he's in. Unstoppable. Or the Riverhawks right now, and their offense is on fire.
Another one of those sophomores. Another one of that great sophomore class. That sophomore class is special.
Curious to see what this is. It might be a
from where it was thrown. Usually you get some kind of a
hold
of a illegal hands to the face, maybe on the defense, or unnecessary roughness, kind of a frustration, late penalty, something like that.
Looks like it will. Yeah, good call, Dave, and go against the Golden Rams. Probably declined then. That's a personal foul, so that might get tacked on to the kickoff, Ryan, or
yeah, and you're
point.
I'm not surprised to see that. You know, you hate to see that, but at the same time, again, Highlands keeps fighting back, and Armstrong just keeps answering. It's like each time they answer quicker, and that's just become so frustrating. A lot of times, the frustration boils over into little, you know, after the whistle activity, unfortunately. But very frustrating if you're Highlands. You just closed at the 14, and Armstrong comes out, and you put some pressure on them that time. You put them in a 1st and 15. You got a hit on the quarterback. You got actually 2 hits on the quarterback. And you got him to throw a ball that was off target, that was short, because he got hit when he threw. And then Klein comes back to the ball, makes an amazing catch. And then the very next play, Olsen, you know, flick. When I say flick, he hummed it out there, but he makes it look so easy. Hummed it out there to his brother on a quick hitter, and his brother did the rest of the work. And Olsen took it to the house. So quick. This Armstrong offense can just score so quickly.
Yeah, the most that this Golden Rams team has allowed so far this season, Ryan, 23 points in a defeat of Woodland Hills, but one in which they scored 38 points. So 23, not a high number. They gave up 22 to Mars. But again, they put 54 on the board in that game. Right now, they are almost on the other end of that result. They certainly are on the other end of that result.
Well, we're seeing the offense get better as the year goes on, and for anybody close to the program, you knew that was kind of going to happen because a lot of young receivers. We've mentioned, you know, Klein's a sophomore. Brown, even though as seasoned as he is and as great of a player as he is, you know, Isaiah Brown is a junior. And you have Ian Olsen's a sophomore. Joe Bartolowicz is a sophomore. You know, really, the only significant pass catcher this year that's not a junior or a sophomore is Dozick Zablocki, and he's more of a special circumstance player. I mean, he gets a lot of touchdowns, gets a lot of big, but he's kind of like a special package guy. But the everyday receiving package of this Armstrong team is very young, and as the seasons went on, and as they've gotten more acclimated to the system, more acclimated to the reads, they've gotten better. And it's enabled Caden Olsen to be quicker with his delivery and quicker with his reads because early in the season, I think he knew where he wanted to go with the ball, but sometimes the receivers weren't on the same page. Now those guys are getting better each week, and you're starting to see a finely tuned machine. Along with a veteran offensive line, you got all but one senior on that offensive line, and they are very good at protecting the quarterback and getting a push. And I tell you, this Armstrong team just seems to be you know, breaking, peaking. I don't even think they're peaking. They're just getting better at the right time of the year because these young guys are developing and starting to reach their potential.
Team of destiny, Ryan.
Who knows? It could be. It could be.
Just a lot of pieces that are undeniably important to be not only just a playoff team, but a playoff contender. And you know football, like all of us out here listening right now do. And the one ingredient that's most important undeniably is a guy under center that can manage things. And not only does Caden Olsen do that, but he's also kind of that presence that you know, guys listen to him. He may be more of a softer talker, I guess. But boy, oh boy, does his game speak loudly. And this team just seems every time there's a challenge put in front of them, they check a box that it seems like a lot of people doubt that they're able to do so. And tonight looking to do that again here as they are back up by 21 here, Ryan, with 7:29 left in quarter number 3. And again, a 21-point advantage leading 42-21. And Highlands looking to answer again. Give them credit. They did come out in their first possession of the second half, Ryan, and put 7 on the board. But if you're going to try to go score for score with Armstrong, that's a battle that few are able to win.
And you mentioned that this Armstrong team, they really are complete. And especially for 4A. For 4A, to have a team that is as complete as they are, especially on the offensive side of the ball, there's no weaknesses, there's no holes. They have the perfect complementary running back to the system. They have an all-world top 50 out of 7,000 all-time quarterbacks.
There's a nice run outside for Highlands. They're using their, I guess, their greatest strength in running the football, and that was Randolph. Ian Olsen able to push him out of bounds, but not until the speedster was able to get it out past the sticks for a first down.
And you got to hand it to Highlands. I mean, they will not quit. They do not give up. They do not quit. They just keep working, and that's what you got to do. You know, for those of you familiar with old prize fights, you know, the Thriller in Manila. You know, Ali and Frazier just back and forth, but Ali weathered the storm. You know, that's what this game is like. You know, Highlands is not backing down and not quitting in this game. And, you know, there's still a ton of time left. If they can, we've said it, if they can get another quick score and then steal a possession somehow, this could be a game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle, though, nonetheless, for Highlands. And what a statement this is, too. I think the one thing that we haven't mentioned is where this is taking place. Second straight season that Armstrong's made the trek here to Highlands, last season ending not in their favor. And sort of a game that I think many thought Armstrong should have been able to come away with the victory. Here they are tonight making a statement. Still, like you said, a lot of time left, about 19 minutes left in this game. Bad snap, Timmins able to gather that. It's deep in his own territory, and he's brought down for a sack at the 40-yard line. And man, oh man, that's the kind of loss that you don't want to take. But really, Timmins put in a tough position there as that snap looked like it had the kind of the end-over-end spin of a punt as it got back to his general location. Certainly didn't get back to him entirely. So.
And McNeely did a great job that time of not being over-anxious. He pressured Timmins. He kept his feet. He kept his balance. And he just stayed with him and ended up making the sack. That was a great, great play that time by McNeely, getting in there. Nick McNeely getting in there, number 35, and making a great play on it. But, you know, if you're Highlands, if somebody had told you, if you're a Highlands fan and somebody would have said that Caden Olson would have 6 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown in the third quarter, and you still
7 minutes
possibly,
left.
and you're still in the game. That would have been an unbelievable statement to make before this game.
I think they'd ask you what was wrong and why are we not winning or the biggest thing is, Ryan, they're facing a 3rd and 25. Too many times tonight we've said 3rd and 20-something or 2nd and 20-something, and that's been a theme that, I mean, Caden Olson's great, but even if you put a team like Armstrong in that position where you're forcing 2nd and 20-something or 3rd and 20-something, rarely are you going to get out of that hole.
No,
it's easy to defend.
especially with this style of offense. Now, Timmins has shown the ability. He's made some plays downfield with his arm, but, I mean, this team is not designed to do that on a regular basis like an Armstrong team is. You know, this team is more about keeping on time, keeping pace with the chains, making manageable 3rd down situations, possibly even playing 4-down football, and just grinding 1st downs and getting consistent scoring. This is not a team that is designed to go 3rd and 25. And to your point, too often for them, they found themselves in those kind of situations. And this is another example. They had the ball in Armstrong territory, and now they're looking at a 3rd and 25.
A number that has been unkind. Timmins, plenty of time. He's going to go downfield, a wobbler, but gets there. And there's plenty of room after the catch. Down to the 10, down to the 5, and finally taken out of bounds after a nice run after catch was number 2, Braden White.
And again, Timmins, you know, this guy, I got to say, I like watching this guy play because he is not the most polished quarterback. He's not. He's a little raw, but at the same time, he is a fighter, this guy, and he's big and he's strong and he's got a great arm. And that time he did a great job again of standing in the pocket. His guys gave him a nice pocket, and he just was patient, and he put an absolute dart down the field, hit his man in stride. That was a very difficult throw. That was a high-level throw there. Hit him in stride at 3rd and 25. What a play. What a play. That was just an awesome play.
Two things that stick with me, obviously. Let's give those big guys up front some credit there. You're giving him some time, and he's moving through the pocket quite well. But my other thing is Timmins kind of finally getting a rhythm here as he dives forward into the end zone for another score.
There's his strength right there.
So Highlands able to answer back again. Everybody's scoring on every drive here so far in the second half. It's been a shootout now. Ryan.
He's the Western PA version of Tim Tebow. He really is. He's a big guy. He's a physical guy. He's a competitor. you know, he will not go down. He keeps fighting, keeps swinging, keeps leading his troops down the field. I'm very impressed with Timmins tonight.
One question I have is how much does it affect his psyche early on in that game? Because basically, I feel like it was him and Randolph sharing snaps pretty much 50-50 early on, and you know, getting into the second quarter, and now certainly in the third quarter, it's been exclusively Timmins taking the snap. So you just wonder what that does to a young man who's been a starter here for years. And
I'll tell you, I've been
interesting thing.
I've been a quarterback. I've been around quarterbacks. I'm a dad of a quarterback. You know, I love the quarterback position. I love studying it, and I have never been a fan of the two quarterback system. And I've never been a fan of kind of mixing up quarterbacks like you see in New Orleans when they bring in
Taysom Hill.
Yeah, what's his name?
Taysom Hill.
Yeah, they bring in Taysom Hill. I think it just I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to give the defense more packages to have to react to, more things to have to study and prepare for. But at the same time, I think it just ruins the flow of the offense by bringing that extra quarterback in and disrupting the momentum.
I agree.
And so early in the game here, you saw him starting to shuffle in guys, and I think it just confused things. And that does not, in my opinion, enable an offense to get a true rhythm. And now you're seeing when they need it most, though, they're going with their leader. You know, their leader's in there, making plays, lead them down the field. And I'd be shocked if you saw another person take a snap in this game with the performance that Timmins has shown and had so far in this, especially second half.
Yeah, your description of him was well said. He is kind of just a gritty guy who, you know, you can tell his competitiveness because there's Olsen out there doing what is well documented, and Timmins kind of saying, hey, you know, I'm good too.
Yeah.
I have a team that's 8-0, and certainly a team that's worthy of the accolades and the talk that they've received as well. So
yeah, he's not going anywhere. The guy and his team, you know, they could have folded 4 or 5 times in this game. I mean, it takes a lot for a team to come up with an effort, get a score when you're down, have a team score 2 plays later, and then regroup and be able to come back and score again. And this Highlands team has shown why they're 8-0. They've shown why they have beaten Armstrong 2 straight years going into this game because these guys don't quit. And right now, Armstrong is in a game.
Caden Olsen's going to take this one hit from behind. It pushes him forward for about a gain of 2 yards. But I'll tell you what, as this season's gone on, you've seen less and less of that, and that is Caden Olsen running the football. Last year, it seemed like probably every 10th play, every 8th play or so, you'd see Caden Olsen break out of the pocket and show off his legs, but with those big strides of his, but really kind of avoided maybe those big hits, and maybe that's a part of the design here as this season's gone on. He's pressured, he's got a guy coming after him, and he's brought down. And Highlands now, their defense making some noise.
We said they'd have to steal a possession. We said they'd have to make a play. That time they brought 5. They brought 1 more than Armstrong could handle. They got in there, they got pressure, and they held up on the back end, which they haven't done very well to this point. They held up in coverage just enough to allow the defensive line time to get to Olsen. And, you know, one thing you mentioned about Olsen not running as much, well, the reason for that is because now, with the development of these young receivers, he has 5 receivers on the field at all times. There'll be a 1 or 2 on another team.
There's a throw outside, and what a catch by Isaiah Brown. Kind of coming back to the ball, and that's just past the original line of scrimmage.
It's a great choice route. It's a great option route. Quarterback, receiver on the same page. Olsen was reading there. He was thrown to a spot. Brown made the right read, stopped at the right spot, just not enough for the first down. Good discipline by the corner, though, knowing where the sticks are and not giving too much of a cushion where Brown could pick up the first down easily.
So it's Highlands able to make the first stop here in the second half as Armstrong will be forced to punt the ball, we assume.
This could get interesting. Okay, they're gonna punt away.
Chrisman gets this one off. This one's kind of a wobbly line drive, but takes a friendly Armstrong bounce and rolls down to the 21-yard line, and that's where Highlands and Chandler Timmins will take over here in the third quarter here with 2 minutes and 3 seconds left. So overall, just a hair over 15 minutes left in this one. It's going to be exciting, folks, so make sure you stay tuned for the remainder of it here on High Top Sports Network and the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Ryan, I want to do some housekeeping here and thank a couple of our wonderful sponsors, you of which are one of them. Thank you for your sponsorship and making this platform available to these young people. We don't just do football. Obviously, we do a lot of high school sports, and folks like you and our other sponsors that make it possible, one of which is tonight's official broadcast partner, Richard G. Snyder YMCA. All I got to say is go check out the golf simulator. They have an official, I'm talking official golf simulator. And if you're not taking advantage of that now that the weather's getting cold, you are insane.
And they have also have a great monster walk on the 29th next Saturday planned for the kids, 6 to 8 p.m. It's going to be a great opportunity to get playfully spooked and get some candy and just have a nice, safe environment and enjoy the grounds of the YMCA.
Playfully spooked. I don't know if there's such a thing. I'm either just spooked or not.
Yeah, I'd say playfully spooked is probably
Okay.
the best way of saying it because it's just enough, but not too much.
A little trunk or treating this year? Is that
Little trunk or treat.
Yep.
The hashtag Save on Meat bus will be there.
Might be down. I'll take my son maybe trick or treating, and
Oh, yeah.
my excuse to take all of his candy and eat it myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's a handoff, going outside and looking for some more room, and he's off to the races possibly. Isaiah Brown, last man to beat. He's able to get him at the last moment at the Armstrong 25-yard line. That, of course, Aaron Randolph. And man, oh man, these Highlands Golden Rims, they will not go away quietly.
I'll tell you, this team has a lot of grit. If you're a coach or a fan of Highlands or a parent of Highlands, you got to be very proud of this effort. No matter what happens the rest of this game, it takes a lot for a team to continue to take haymakers the way they have with the big plays and just continue to grind and gut it out. You just got to give it to these guys. They are fighters.
Ryan, if you're a fan of Highlands or someone on that sideline, you have to wonder where this was in that early portion of the game. Really nothing doing, and really their offense stifled for a good portion of it. And here they are right now looking like a well-oiled machine. So, and it goes back to what I did say, kind of to answer my own question, I suppose, is when you're backed up by your own wrongdoings and forcing those second and 20-somethings and third and 20-somethings, it's an uphill climb. And they had one example of that here a moment ago, but really overall, the self-inflicted wounds kind of minimized here in quarter number 3.
And let's not minimize that they're going up against a strong defensive group. I mean, Coach Hooks has a very well-coached, well-studied group of defenders. They put a ton of time in, and it probably just took this long for Highlands to kind of figure out what they could and couldn't do.
Timmins dropping. He's going to roll to his right, throw on the run. Throws it high and skying for it is the receiver. A nice little job there to throw on the run. A little high, but able to climb the ladder.
So hard to see the Highlands numbers with those.
Number 20, that is Landon Cigarella.
And again, Timmins doing a nice job. I mean, again, I think he's in our headset. Earlier on,
I sure hope so. He's a smart young man.
He was panicking a little bit earlier. We saw it. He was panicking a little bit and looking to run too early and taking his eyes off downfield too early and not giving his eyes a chance to find those receivers. He had open receivers early on. He just wasn't giving it a chance to find them. But now you're seeing him hang in there. I'm sure the coaches at halftime were like, listen, we need you to hang in there another half second. Keep your eyes downfield. There are open receivers. We're continuing to get open receivers. And they are getting open receivers. He's doing a nice job of finding them and putting the ball where only they can get it. That was a well-placed ball. Way to high point the ball by the receiver. Big play again, and they're knocking on the door. They're inside the red zone. They have a chance to pull to within 7 points of Armstrong if they can somehow punch this in. And if you're Armstrong, you got to be thinking, what is happening? Our all-state quarterback, our Penn recruit quarterback, our receivers, our great offensive line, we have been a machine. We've poured 7 touchdowns in 3 quarters on these guys, and somehow this is still a ball game. So it has to kind of get psychologically tough on Armstrong's part. Like, what do we got to do to these guys to finish them off?
I just think the eye test tells me, I don't want to say that they've almost with a purpose have let off the gas, but it seems a little bit as though a little more conservative, a little more, I guess, making plays to avoid big hits and things of the sort. Really, I just think Armstrong, they got a little bit of a cushion, and we all do it in life. Whether it's on the playing field or something in life, you get comfortable and you kind of get away from what works. And you know, maybe he'll take a touchdown here by Highlands and cut it down to a 2-score game once again, as they did earlier, before Armstrong was able to build it back up to 21. That will maybe encourage Armstrong to maybe clamp down again. But to your point, though, and this Armstrong offense gets all of the headlines sometimes. I think all of them, except a very few. And I try to make a point to point out this defense, because they are just sort of the elixir sometimes, the thing that can even, to your point, the very first thing you said in this game was that hit by Dozic Zablocki set the tone for this game. And
it really did.
And sometimes in these games,
that was a pop.
Sometimes these games in general, the Armstrong defense is able to be the thing overall that sets the tone, and that not enough credit given, as I think a lot of people coming into this season were worried about the size of some of those guys over there, including, and those guys play both ways. You'll see them on the offensive line as well. And I'll tell you what, whether it's on maybe it's the big guys in general in that front seven, but they have been impressive this season, Ryan, answering a lot of doubters, I think, with their ability to protect Caden Olsen, and then on the other side protect some of Caden Olsen's leads.
And again, on the defensive side, you know, like the offensive side, you know, very similar on the defensive side. You have Connor Jacobs, Dozic Zablocki, you got Chrisman, and you got Kamer, but you know, you have a lot of young guns. You have a freshman on the defensive line. You know, you got Donovan Hutchins on the defensive line as a freshman, doing a fantastic job, but he's still a freshman. You have out of your secondary, your secondary is all sophomores. So you know, you got a lot of young guns out there, and there's going to be a learning curve, and you're going to give up some points. But overall, you're right. They've been underappreciated, I think, a little bit this year.
Timmins rolling out to his right again, plenty of time. He's going to throw on the run. He's going to fire it off.
Oh, that was a risky maneuver there.
That was indeed. Maybe
Jack Valasek, I'll tell you, Jack Valasek's going to want that one back, because he read that play, and he had a ball in between his hands, and he just wasn't able to come down with it. Timmins, you know, taking a little bit of
getting a little greedy now after the success he's had here.
One of the cardinal sins of quarterbacking is throwing late over the middle, especially when you're on the move. It's just, there's a lot of bodies flying around, and it becomes a really tight real estate, and it's tough to be accurate throwing against your body while you're on the run. And he got away with one there. He definitely got away with one, because Valasek had it. He had his sights on it, and he just wasn't able to come down with the interception.
Yeah, he's been sort of a ball hawk this year for Armstrong, as Jack Valasek, sort of an Ed Reed kind of center fielder, just using his athleticism, because I think it's fair to say, Jack, a basketball player first. And here's a little end-around sweep.
What a run.
Wow, what a run indeed.
Unbelievable run. The wide receivers, they had the numbers outside. They had hats on hats. Armstrong that time did a nice job of shutting the block. But what a move to get upfield and get in the end zone that time. And here we go, Joe. Here we go. It's a fourth quarter. It is a conference championship game for all purposes. And 11:45 left, and it's a 8-point game, looking to make it a 7-point game.
Aaron Randolph enforcing his will now, and the extra point up and good.
Unbelievable, gritty effort by the Highlands Rams.
Rams, yes, showing the heart of a champion
they
here.
Really are.
Right back in this one.
They
the
really
score 42-35, Armstrong leading, but plenty of time left. 11:25 or 45 left here in the fourth and final quarter. We think it's the final quarter, but the way this one is trending, wouldn't be surprised if there's some extra time tacked on at the end. But man, oh man, this slowly have these Highlands Golden Rams been maybe just I guess discovering what's been working for them, and going back and building upon that. So it's really, I think it starts with Timmins too. He seems like he has a different confidence here in this second half, and his team kind of getting confident. That's the thing. Everybody looks at their quarterback. We know Armstrong they all look to Caden Olsen. When somebody like Timmins is starting to find his groove, certainly that gives the guys around him some confidence as well. So
one thing we didn't mention, Joe, well, we've mentioned it throughout a little bit, but for those of you at home that don't know, Highlands man for man is probably 20 to 30 pounds on Armstrong. They have a lot more juniors and seniors than Armstrong. Armstrong, as we mentioned, overall, outside of the leadership of their captains, Zablocki and Olsen and some of the other senior leaders, for the most part, a very young team. This Highlands team is a pretty seasoned group. They're big, they're strong, and we could be seeing them just wearing out Armstrong in all actuality. And you see that a lot of times with bigger teams. If they can kind of stay in the game long enough, they can eventually kind of wear out those defenses. And you got to wonder if the younger, smaller Armstrong guys. I mean, we mentioned there's a freshman on Armstrong's defensive line, Donovan Hutchins. You got to wonder if those young guys are starting to get worn down by these older, grizzled vets of Highlands.
What makes that possibility even more interesting is the fact that it's been Armstrong that's done that to teams this season. We saw it against Aliquippa most certainly. That Armstrong and their kind of fast pace and they're not afraid to turn the tempo up. They've been the ones to make others feel a little more fatigued, especially this point in the game. So if that's the case, man, this might be the first, Ryan, that Armstrong's been the fatigued party, not the one making the other team a little more tired at this stage of the game.
Well, I mean, let's face it. You don't have to be an expert to figure out that at 8-0, no matter who you played or who you haven't played, at 8-0, you're a solid team. This has to be. This is definitely the second best team that Armstrong's faced this year. And so, to your point, Armstrong at this point is used to the other team kind of submitting almost. Because Armstrong's very physical. This is the only team outside Aliquippa that's been able to stay with them physically into the fourth quarter. So this is a great test for that young Armstrong team. Olson's just going to have to keep bringing it. He's just going to have to keep making plays and keep delivering the ball. And they're just going to have to. It's like in a horse race where the lead horse gets the early lead. They just have to finish this race. They just have to somehow finish this race, no matter what it takes.
Max Zablocki got the return there, but a penalty pushes Armstrong back to the 31-yard line as Olson receives a shotgun snap, throws it outside. Ian Olson able to kind of cut back towards the numbers and bring that one in and get about, 2 yards after the catch down to the 36 yard line.
But again, that was a screen play, and I understand that, but you're seeing a lot more pressure. In the first half, Caden Olson was not pressured. He was not uncomfortable. He's been uncomfortable 6 or 7 times. Even making good throws, he's been pressured and hit in the second half. And I don't care, any level of quarterback, Tom Brady down, it makes a difference. If they start feeling you, it makes a difference.
Olson, quick pass outside to Ian Olson. He jukes one guy and then is brought down and ripped out of bounds by the second defender to reach him, number 20. That, of course, is Landon Signorella.
And that's a great adjustment. Great adjustment. Frank Fabian, we've said it before, one of the best offensive minds in Western Pennsylvania, possibly the state of Pennsylvania. He's devised this scheme that Caden Olson has developed and flourished in. And so, he recognizes this. He recognizes they're starting to get some pressure. They're starting to get in there. So what do you see? You see a little quick pop, receiver hitch. You see a choice route, stop route. You're seeing him develop situations where Caden Olson's able to get rid of the ball quicker.
And a little audible there as well. Here's another screen, but thrown a little bit short as Kyan Klein.
But again, the Highlands Rams, they got in there. They got in their face of Caden Olson and caused him to be a little bit inaccurate, a little more hesitant than he would normally. He wasn't able to step into that with authority like he normally is. Just caused him to be a little off, and now instead of the catch and run for a touchdown, you just stopped him for a no gain. That pressure, if they're going to have a chance, if Highland's going to have a chance to close this game, they're going to have to continue to gamble and get people in his face.
9:55 left here in this fourth quarter. Armstrong holding and clinching tightly to a 7-point lead as Olson's pressured. Another screen there. Gets past the line of scrimmage and then ripped down is the general. We haven't called his name in a little bit, Alex Patton.
Another thing you're seeing, Joe, that we mentioned earlier, they were gambling on the backside early, and they kind of were stubborn with it. Now you're seeing 2 safeties over the top and more of like a cover 2. Now you're seeing them go back to cover 1 safety, but you're seeing more help over the top, trying to keep it so that they can't just pop these big plays all day.
Yeah, keeping everything in front certainly here of late.
Make them work down the field.
that along with the penalties have really been the biggest bugaboo for these Rams, but there's a great throw again outside to Isaiah Brown.
And again, great recognition on the point of Coach Fabian, on the point of Caden Olson, on the point of the receivers. Everybody understands this. They're reading the defense. They can see the defense has made that adjustment. So now they're stopping their routes early. They're taking what the defense gives them. They're being very patient. Can they continue to be patient and work their way down the field and finish this drive? You know, they've been kind of getting it easy so far tonight. You hate to say that because a lot of effort goes into these touchdowns, but it's been quick hit, 2-3 play drives.
Yeah.
It's one of the first times they've had to actually work down the field.
And that might be a reason why the defense is, maybe a little tired for Armstrong. They've spent a lot of time out in the field, ultimately because of those quick hitters. Here's another, and Olsen hit hard there, but another screen. And talk about those quick hitters, and it's Isaiah Brown, who we know is dynamic in open space, and he's able to get out past the sticks and get Armstrong another first down. We'll say, we're going to mark him out at the, what are we going to say here, Ryan? About the 18?
And another thing Armstrong does, and you see good teams do this that are deep, they bring in Connor Jacobs as one of the receivers. He's not one of their top receivers, but he's a very physical blocker. And when they're running these screens, he just cleared that whole side out for Brown.
Here's Alex Patton. He's got a wide open lane up the middle. Nice cut back and ripped down at the 2-yard line. Indeed, General Patton, a nice run there, and that was a perfect play call, I think, for Armstrong, Ryan. As you saw the parting of the Red Sea, the middle opened up, and that's the first time really, especially with this tempo that Armstrong's had, it was kind of even surprising for me to see them decide to run that little delayed draw.
For the hardcore football fan, this is the magic right here. This is the chess match. You know, you see this chess match. You know, one team does something, the other team has to do something to offset it. Now the other team reacts. Now you get this back and forth. All of a sudden you're all worried about everything else. What does the general do? Pops it up, you put it right. They parted the sea, and the general took care of the rest.
Nice hesitation, and then in for 6 was Alex Patton. If you saw that right there, look at doing a little shimmy shake and stopped his progress, and that allowed the defender to kind of move past him, and then he was able to do the rest and get in for 6. A nice job there by Alex Patton.
Yeah, you know, he does a nice job normally of hitting the hole with authority, getting his shoulders upfield and exploding upfield. That time, you're right, he showed nice patience. He kind of went up into the hole, took a couple little pitter-patter steps, let the hole develop, and then he shot through and finished the run with authority. But a great job initially of Highlands adjusting to Armstrong, creating pressure, kind of maybe confusing them to a certain extent, but Armstrong adjusting right back, bringing in Jacobs and some more physical blockers, getting bodies on those defensive backs and turning those quick screens, those quick hitches, almost like an extension of the running play out there, getting some blockers out in front and working their way down the field and finishing with the general.
So a penalty against Highlands will be a half distance to the goal line, and I wonder if Armstrong wants to take advantage of that here and maybe try to punch it in for 2, but instead they'll go with Hunter Reed, who's been a sure thing here as on extra points for Armstrong all season long. And Ryan, this will be 49 if he can put it through the uprights. They scored 55, did these Riverhawks last game at home against Mars, a team that's not too shabby themselves, a young team, but point being there is Reed does put it through the uprights. It's 49-35. That this Armstrong offense, I'm wondering if there's a team that can truly slow them down and limit them in all the ways that they are so talented.
The talent's there, but like we said earlier, the talent's there, but the system is a great system. It's a great system, and you know, it's a system that's shown that it can develop WIPIO leading runners, like Zane Dudek, as well as WIPIO leading pass catchers and receivers. It's just a great system that adjusts to what the defense is doing and can adjust on the fly, has everything built into it to adjust anything the defense puts out. The biggest thing with that, a system like that, is it's pretty involved. It involves everybody being on the same page. It involves a lot of study, a lot of work, and a lot of reps. So I think, just like we said earlier, you're seeing these young guys, these young receiving core, develop as the year goes on, and they're just getting better and better at reading and reacting to what the defense is doing. And Olsen, with all his experience, he's already ahead of them. He knows what should be happening. So now he has the confidence in them to make the right decisions. He's getting rid of the ball on time, even against pressure. And you saw it. Even with pressure and a change in the coverage, They still were able to work their way down the field, maybe not in 3 plays, but they worked their way down the field very smoothly and scored a nice touchdown drive. Another great reaction to it's like watching. It reminds you of watching a great NBA game where you have 2 superstars just kind of making shot after shot, back and forth.
You know what? I was actually thinking of. It reminded me of Rocco Mediate and Tiger Woods in the 2008 U.S. Open. I don't know if I mean that seriously or facetiously. I'm not totally sure yet, but kind of one guy does something and the next one you think he's done and out, like Rocco maybe that year. He comes and hits a shot of his life, and then Tiger on one leg and bones poking out basically all over the place. He hits a shot he has no business hitting. So.
Yeah, I mean those kind of matchups and those kind of outings are special, and this game has definitely lived up to the billing. I mean, this thing has all kinds of playoff implications, home field, conference championships. Whether or not you have to face a team like McKees Porter Aliquippa in the 2nd or 3rd round of the playoffs, a lot at stake here, and both teams are playing like there's a lot at stake here. Neither one is ready to just say, okay, you win. I feel like you're going to keep seeing a battle to the end here, and Armstrong might have given themselves enough of a cushion to be able to weather the storm, but there's no signs of quitting in these Highland Rams.
No, and this is a moment where Chandler Timmins is going to be heavily leaned on because you have 7:33 left here in this 4th quarter, and little time because you're down 2 scores. You know you have to put it in the end zone twice, and after you put it in the end zone the first time, barring some miraculous way of getting it back on the kickoff, maybe an onside kick. Oh, that big hit there! Wow, what a stick by number 27. You can hear that the whole way up here.
That's Rex. No, that's Ethan. Is that Ethan or Rex?
That's Ethan. Yeah, Ethan Ekman.
That's Ethan Ekman. Ethan Ekman, I'll tell you, he's a stud. He's not afraid to hit somebody.
Not at all. I heard that one up here, and he got a headset on.
He's a brother of Kyan Klein, and those two have been beating each other up for years. And they're both tough as nails, but Ethan's not afraid to hit somebody as he showed on that play.
No, it'll be up to
another sophomore, another one of those sophomores.
It's a class to watch.
It really is special class.
But in the meantime, Timmins, see what he's made of, another senior, trying to preserve the perfect season for the Golden Rams. Getting out of that tackle, but then met by a pile of Riverhawks was Aaron Randolph. But man, oh man.
I'll tell you, Nick McNeely's been doing a great job of creating chaos in the backfield. I mean, we've said Timmins has had a lot of time in this game, but there's been a couple key pressures, and all but a couple of them have been by Nick McNeely. He's just doing a nice job of creating enough chaos. He didn't finish the tackle there, but he made Timmins get his eyes off downfield. He made him go into a scramble self-preservation mode and enabled those other guys to come over and clean it up.
I want to note there, interestingly, it's the center who's bringing the plays in for Highlands. You see him look over to the sidelines, look at his little wristband, and it's the whole team's kind of listening to him and kind of piling around him, the center there. So, I thought that was. And that one's picked off to no one at home, and it's Isaiah Brown adding to his spectacular night, doing a little something on the defensive side, and he brings it back to the Highlands 38. And man, if that's not the knockout punch, Ryan, I don't know what is.
And I'll tell you, anybody that's ever played the quarterback position can feel for Timmins there. Sometimes when you're playing quarterback, and I just had bad flashbacks in 1997, when you go back, sometimes you just get this weird urge that you got to make a play. And you just think, I got to make a play. And all of a sudden, your body just takes over, and you find yourself just throwing the ball downfield.
Yeah.
And that was one of those instances. He was pressured a little bit, but it just looked like he kind of just panicked and said, I need to make a play, and just forced it downfield.
He had that headset
defense
on listening to us again. He heard me saying about you can't waste time. And here's the general who gets a seam and a nice little maneuver there, weaves his way, and he is in for 6. Add another name to the list of guys having a standout night. General Patton, Alex Patton, runs that one in, and Armstrong tacks on another touchdown. Kind of quick there, if I do say so. But if that lane opens up like that, and you have that burst like Alex Patton does, you are going to find the end zone when you can. And Armstrong It was just a one possession game there a moment ago, Ryan, right back up to 3, just like that.
I mean, that's just what makes this team so hard to play with. I mean, you know, as gutty of an effort as Highlands has had in the second half, it eventually just wears you out mentally, physically, and in between. When you have a team that every time you start to claw back, they just answer you. Not only answer you, but answer you quickly. 1, 2, 3 plays. You know, after you just worked and used every ounce of energy to get a score and grinded out a score, and then the team just comes back and 3 plays later they're in.
Yeah, 6
I mean,
or 7 left.
after so many times, it just becomes mentally deflating. And you know, I'd like to know stats of going into a high school football game. What's the percentage of every game? What's the percentage of a team going in, having a quarterback throw for 6 touchdowns, rush for 1, and then having your featured back get 2 touchdowns?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be less than 5%.
Yeah, but whenever you have a quick strike offense like this Armstrong team does, I mean, how many touchdowns have come also on passes of over 50 yards? You know, that's been another kind of outlier and thing about this game that's going to be noteworthy when it's all said and done. You know, and then we talked about the defense getting gassed for Armstrong. Well, no wonder, because there's another quick play, and that one didn't even take place in the air. That was Alex Patton doing it himself on the ground.
And, you know, in this game, I feel like the big plays of Armstrong have really stood out more so than other games.
Ooh.
They've been making big plays all year, but the defense, to your point earlier, has been pretty solid and has created a good field position for them. Ian Olsen has been a great punt returner. They've had great field position. So Caden Olsen has had big strikes all season long, but a lot of times they're 45, 40, 50, 55-yarders, where in this game, the field position hasn't been as good. So you're seeing these 75, 70, 65, 80-yard bombs. He's been doing it all year, but now because of the field position, he's finally getting kind of rewarded with numbers.
Well, he creeped into the top 50 all-time PIAA passers in this game, and also moved up to number 11, I think we said, in the Whippeal all-time passing.
And again,
list.
just at a glance, I mean, just at a quick math, I mean, there's been over 7,000 quarterbacks that have taken a varsity snap in the history of the PIAA. Over 7,000. I'm one of them. I was a lot of yards short of that.
Where are you
guy.
at in that list?
I mean, I don't even know if I'm in the top 50 of my alma mater. but you know, so out of 7,000 guys trying to play arguably the most difficult position in sports, we have the pleasure of watching a young man who's in the top 50.
Yeah.
Out of
7,000. And still crawling up that list.
And still working. He still has at least 2 games. We know he's at least 2 games after this.
So we think good chance of certainly creeping in the top 40, maybe even higher.
Yeah.
There's that defense again.
He gets a couple more performances like this. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we're not going to probably get the official numbers for this one.
He's got to be over 500 yards today.
Oof.
I mean, if not close.
You know, he was in the running for that Whippeal leading spot at the top of the Whippeal in terms of passing. I know he was tops in touchdown passes, and I'm sure he's going to preserve that here tonight, unless somebody else out there. And I want to know the guy that had a bigger night on the gridiron at the quarterback position tonight than Caden Olsen.
I mean, this is an all-world performance, and not only is it, I mean, it is a great performance by the entire team, but individually against a team that's 8-0, a team that I think you'd said hadn't given up more than 23 points in a game this year. 8-0. They're playing at home. They've lost to them the 2 straight years going into this.
More than doubled up that.
And this performance, I mean, it has to be the best performance of Caden Olsen's storied career.
Oh, Jack,
what a play by Valasek.
Yeah, right. He was a good 5 yards. Give the receiver credit. He came back to that one and gained maybe 5 yards coming back to it on Jack Valasek. But yeah, he
driving through the ball,
stuck his cleats in the ground and got back to it, able to get a hand and swat that one down. So
drove on the route, drove through the ball, and you know that shows too Valasek's progression as a defensive back. He's not a guy that's played football his whole life. I mean, he's an athlete. He's a great basketball player. He came out from football. I believe last year was his first year playing. And so now I think you're starting to see the athleticism come in because now he has the experience and the knowledge now. He's caught up in that level. So now that natural athleticism and aggressiveness is able to come out because he's very comfortable in what he's doing.
4:49 left in this one. It's now or never for Chandler Timmins in this Highlands offense. And 2 receivers there to the top of the screen. That's where the ball will be handed, but a slip, and down goes the ball carrier, Julius Saunders. And that's kind of a microcosm of how this night's gone for Highlands. You get a little bit of success, and then your feet come out from under you, and you're playing from behind.
And going back to this offensive passing effort, you can't talk about it enough because it's so special. I'm just kind of doing the math in my head, and he's got to be well over 500 yards. He has to be. If not, he's close. And let's put that in perspective. I would say when you look through the stats, the average starting quarterback in varsity football, when you look through the stats just at a glance, like 125, 130 a game, I'd say, average. You go, here you got a guy throwing for 4 times as many yards against an 8-0 team for a conference championship.
Well, I want to cite George Guido. He's the one that gave us that information earlier on that Caden had moved to number 11 all time in the Whippeal passing.
George,
ranks.
That guy's a genius.
You talk about wizards. You said your dad's
He's
a wizard. Yeah, your dad's the meat wizard. George is just the
everybody knows George.
Western PA sports wizard. He has stories about Forbesville that I've never heard, and it's always a joy getting to see him at games because if you take the time, and you have the time here, because things can get hectic, as you know, and I know.
If you want to read any articles, he's just great. He's a great writer.
But I would bargain to guess that he will be well aware of what Caden's total is here tonight, because when he keeps stats during games, I find that his numbers are darn near exact or somewhere around it. So we'll hopefully talk to him before this one's all said and done, as that one takes a Armstrong bounce and no one grabs it. And that kind of there was the white flag punting there. I know you're obviously deep in your own territory, but that punt kind of did signal that this one's all but done, as Armstrong will take over with the football here in 4:13 left, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say, that's definitely waving the flag. That being said, I mean, what a game. What a game. I mean, this has just been a great effort. Unfortunately for Highlands, they made some mistakes early. They kind of took a little too long to find their rhythm, to find some of the weaknesses in Armstrong's defense. It just kind of got started too late. Armstrong got that initial 21-point lead, and they maintained that lead throughout. But really, since late second quarter, this has been an even game. It's been a back and forth battle, and to Highlands' credit, I don't think this team is going anywhere. I think they're gonna finish out the season strong, and they're gonna go into the playoffs. I look for them to at least get to the second level of the playoffs.
I'd be really interested to hear where Coach Frank Fabian puts this game in terms of, because he's the only team that Armstrong's ever had, or only coach rather that Armstrong's ever had, and where this ranks in terms of wins for the program, because you pretty much cement the section title where you do, and I think it's a season that's a kind of a late hit, and you want to avoid those for Caden.
For me, it's the third biggest win of Armstrong's history.
Behind last year's playoff, I'm sure.
Last year's playoff win obviously is number 1, and I think number 2 was when we were kind of a new organization, and we had Zane Dudek, and we went down to Gateway, and we beat a nationally ranked Gateway team on the road. And I think Zane ran for like 5 million yards.
It's 500, I think, actually.
It was crazy.
Or I don't know if that was.
And I think that was just a big win for the program to say you did that. I don't know, that for me is probably the third. This is probably the second for sure. No question. Conference championship, big road win, setting yourself up for nice seeding in the playoffs. Probably not having to face a McKees Port Aliquippa team until the semifinals of the Whippeal, if you're fortunate enough to get that far. So they've really set the table up nicely for themselves with this win.
Certainly a couple major publications in the area leaving Armstrong out of the top 5 in Class 4A, and I would guess the gentlemen and the ladies that put those lists together and comprise that would like to have that back if possible.
Well, there's no way there's no way that you can rank them outside the top 4. And in all actuality, with the way that they performed against Aliquippa, I don't know how you can rank them outside the top 3. I mean, we know McKeesport. McKeesport had that huge win playing up against Gateway, Brad Birch. So McKeesport, and having beaten Armstrong last year in the playoffs, I don't think you can rank Armstrong at this point ahead of McKeesport. And you definitely can't rank them ahead of Aliquippa, losing the head-to-head, Aliquippa being the defending state champions, undefeated. They're in the top 4 for sure. Whether it's 3rd or 4th is probably up for debate. But that being said, I mean, that puts them in the conversation for WIPIAL contenders. And, I mean, we all know the team that wins the WIPIAL usually ends up in the state title game.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more with what you said there, and it takes me back to that Aliquippa game. I was on the call for that, and Doug Flanders, who was on the mic with me that evening, said, I just have this weird feeling that this isn't the last time we've seen these two teams play, and the way this season's shaping up, and just the feel and just the oddities, and as I said, maybe Armstrong's that team of destiny that it does almost seem like a crash course with Aliquippa is not completely out of the question at this point.
Well, let's say they get a 4 seed. Let's say they get a 4 seed going into the WIPIAL. Aliquippa, unless something crazy happens, is going to be the 1 seed. Deservedly so, much deservedly so. So, I mean, that puts them at a crash course, to your point, in the semifinals of the WIPIAL. So, I think you could see a very likely chance of a WIPIAL Aliquippa Armstrong semifinal rematch.
And what a game that would be. It'd be interesting to see where that game would, because it's not neutral sites that would be hosted. The higher seeded team would be the host, and as many know, Aliquippa won't have the friendly confines of the pit at their disposal this season as it's under construction. So, be very curious to see where that game would get played, Ryan. Of course, we all know where the championship game is played, but that semifinal, a neutral site, that could actually be something that would help. I think it would help whoever ends up playing Aliquippa if, in fact, they make it as far as that semifinal.
And I think in that game, obviously Aliquippa will be the favorite. Defending state title, they won at Armstrong this year, but at the same time, you're gonna see a different Armstrong team than you saw in that game. With all these young guys getting all this extra experience, it's going to be a much more developed team than the young team that the seasoned Aliquippa Quips went up against in the first matchup.
Yeah, this Armstrong team, I think, has developed, but as you said, that Aliquippa team, that was their first game of the season. The Quips were, I want to say, still trying to find their sea legs, and so I think that if that game would happen again, both teams would be different in many, many ways. And I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole because that's going to take a lot of things for that to happen, a lot of stars to align. But right now, these Armstrong Riverhawks flying high, no pun intended, after a convincing win here tonight on the road in Natrona Heights on this Richard G. Snyder YMCA game night on High Top Sports Network. 56-35, Ryan. A second straight game that this team has put up 55 or more points on the scoreboard. The offense electric, the defense big moments of their own. And again, Armstrong, I think, won some people over, I think, out there tonight. And a lot of people that are going to be looking at that program a little differently here after this one.
Oh, this was definitely a statement victory for the program, for Armstrong, for sure. I mean, they came into a hostile environment on the road against an undefeated Highlands team, a seasoned Highlands team that had beaten Armstrong 2 straight years, and convincingly, convincingly led the way for the entire game. Highlands was chasing the entire game, put up a gritty effort for their part, but Armstrong had the foot on the gas the whole game, and they controlled the game from the first hit of Zablocki to the last sack of Timmins and interception.
And this is the Sprankles Neighborhood Market postgame show presented by Ryan.
Hashtag save on meat. We can't do what we do without our customers.
And you heard what Ryan said early in the game. His dad, if there's meat to be found, his dad will do it. And somebody was getting sprayed with water there.
Oh, yeah,
is that
they're
Coach
excited.
Fabian? Yeah, it is.
It's a big deal. It's a conference championship. First conference champion, second conference championship in team history.
That's a cool sight right there, man.
Second conference championship in team history, first since I think 2016. Just a big deal. I mean, this team, you know, Coach Fabian a couple years ago had a very young group, and he still does somehow.
Yeah.
But he along with his staff, Coach Hooks and the rest of the staff, those guys are tireless workers. They prepare these guys. You know, they put in 12-hour days. Can't say enough about the coaching staff of Armstrong and the general culture of just blue collar, working hard and putting in the effort. And much deserved conference championship, but this team is not satisfied with that. I can tell you that much. They have a lot bigger goals. I was just kind of thinking, Joe, it's interesting. The way it could line up, it could very easily go in the playoffs. Aliquippa could have to face Highlands in the game before they would
to play Armstrong. And Armstrong, of course, will have some housekeeping of their own to do. You know, that's not the first round is no pitch and putt, so to say. It's going to be a challenge for whoever the Armstrong Riverhawks draw, but certainly helping their odds, I guess you could say, of facing maybe, we'll say, an easier opponent by winning tonight and capturing this conference championship. The second, as you said, in Armstrong history, the last coming back in 2016-17. So
it's a big win for the program, though. Congratulations to the team, the coaches, the parents. I mean, everybody involved with the program. It's just a special night for Armstrong, and you know they're gonna enjoy this one. You can see they're fired up. They're enjoying this, especially beating a team that has beaten them the last 2 years. And beating them in convincing fashion.
That's going to be a fun bus ride home for that group of guys right there.
Absolutely.
But,
Colt's not going to want us to pick them up.
I'm sure he won't. The Magic Man and QB1 will maybe have some plans after this one.
They very well could, and they'll be much deserved plans.
Now,
although the Magic Man has to get up and play JV game tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, that's why he's the Magic Man. He's got a way to solve this. I believe in it. But what a cool sight right there is these guys are going to take a picture as they are section champions, Ryan.
Very cool. Very cool.
This Sprankles Neighborhood Market post game would not be complete without naming our play of the game, our drive of the game, and player of the game. First, Ryan, if you would be so kind to give me your Schaefer's HVAC drive of the game.
I think the drive of the game was, you know, the least fancy drive of the game. But I think the drive of the game was when Highlands kind of seemed to start figuring out Armstrong's offense a little bit. They started getting pressure. They got to stop. The series before there, I'm talking the third quarter, they got to stop. And they forced a punt. Then they came back, made it a 7-point game. And then Armstrong methodically adjusted, went with shorter routes, brought in Connor Jacobs as a blocker on some of those quick routes to get that downfield blocking. And they just did a great job of working down the field and finishing the drive. I think that's the drive of the game. That was a decisive drive and a very important drive because it showed that, okay, Highlands made an adjustment. But guess what? Armstrong came right back and adjusted and still scored. So I think that was huge, and it got that lead back up to 14.
Yeah, and doing this on the road makes it even more impressive, I think.
That's pretty special with the trophy presentation. And,
yeah.
Caden Olson in the middle of the group there with the coach, his dad behind him. That's a very close-knit team. You know, you hear a lot of bad things about football teams, some of the football teams with hazing and that kind of stuff. I can tell you, I got a son on the team. And just a class group of guys. They love each other. They play as a team, and the coaches lead the way.
And what better Amazing Grace being played. Interesting. But kind of adds it. It makes it kind of an emotional moment here.
It really is. It's a great group of guys. I know a lot of them. I've been coaching and around them, a lot of those guys since they were kids. And it really is a special group of young men and parents.
And a victory lap by the Riverhawks. Well, they're going to make a sprint there towards the...
Are we going to see a Baker Mayfield?
Oh.
Somebody going to take the flag and Shove it into
in the middle of the field. I don't know. A little harder than this turf too.
I can't see Caden Olsen doing that.
No. He's the last guy, and there's how many guys on that roster that that would probably be the one to do that.
Little brother,
I can think of a couple guys.
I
can think of a couple guys that would be more likely to do it. Not going to name any names here.
No, this was a hard-fought game. A lot of respect for both teams, from both teams, and you're not going to see anything that late here.
With some pictures being taken there, and
it also would make the JV game tomorrow morning a little awkward.
It would indeed. Quickly, so we can get going here. It's the bewitching hours, they say. I've never knew what that meant. I just fun to say. But anyways, give us your Armstrong Indoor Athletics AIA play of the game.
I think the play of the game for me was the first real long deep bomb that was completed, and forgive me, but I can't remember even who it was to. But
a lot of those tonight.
There was so many of them, but the one that I can remember was just an absolute bomb, one side of the field to the other in the first half, from Caden Olsen to his brother Ian Olsen. I want to say it was like a 75-yard touchdown. Beautiful throw, beautiful catch. Sprinted through the ball and finished it in style. So I'm going to go Olsen to Olsen first half bomb. Just answering, setting the tone. I mean, there's so many great plays in this game, but that's who I would definitely. That's the play I would go with for the play.
A player of the game presented by Franklin Village Shop and Save goes to.
Well, it's like putting it on a tee. I mean, it's so obvious. So many great players in this game. So many great plays in this game from both sides. But Caden Olsen, I mean, let's face it, 6 touchdowns and 6 touchdowns passing, 1 touchdown rushing. We don't have a definite number on yards, but we know he's in the 500-ish range. Just an insane performance on one of the biggest stages in team history, and the leader, he produced just a great performance.
I promise you that Armstrong in the next few days is going to get a little bit more respect than I think they've received here of late. Getting snubbed on some lists that I think they should have been on, and I believe they think they should have been on, and tonight I think they proved just that. So
Armstrong's an outlier. They're an outlier, but tonight they had the game of the week. They were the game of the week. Everybody's going to see this game. Everybody's going to read about this game. It's going to be covered by every paper. Huge game in the Whippeal, and the stars showed up tonight, and the 2 brothers fittingly are getting interviewed as we speak, actually.
Well, Ryan, a joy as always. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Thanks for having me.
I always enjoy having you up here. The broadcasts always seem to go a little bit better when you're around, so appreciate that, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure being here. I appreciate the opportunity, and
special
looking
night.
forward to the first playoff game if the invite's still there.
Absolutely, and a special night here certainly. And as you said, I forget the context, but it's always neat to be in person at these moments. And Armstrong, just their 2nd conference championship in school history, and glad to be here for it. Glad to bring you folks out there the call, and it's not possible without our sponsors. And I want to urge, as I always do, that our sponsors allow us to do what we do and bring these games to you wherever you may be. And without that, you couldn't watch it, and we wouldn't be calling it. So we thank our sponsors once more: UFP Parker, Phoenix Physical Therapy, Katanning and Royal Valley, Armstrong Indoor Athletics, Steffi's Country Catering, where the food just sticks to the ribs, Lernerville Speedway, Richard G. Snyder YMCA, tonight's title sponsor, Schaefer's HVAC, the booth sponsor, DeMond Chiropractic in Manor Township, Ryan Bowser State Farm, buckle up and save with Ryan Bowser State Farm, Olsen Chiropractic in West Katanning, Shop and Save at Franklin Village, and last but certainly not least, Sprankle's Neighborhood Market. Thank you, Ryan, for your support of High Top Sports Network. And as we always say, thank you folks out there. You make it fun, you make it worth it, and we love bringing you the action. And certainly a special night to do so here in Natrona Heights as Armstrong able to come away with a 56-35 victory and clinch the section title on the road. So next week it'll be these Riverhawks at home to finish out the regular season. They'll bring in a traditional rival, so throw the books out, I guess, when that's the case. as they welcome the Kiski area Cavaliers, who I believe might have gotten their first win tonight. Don't quote me on it. I know their game's over, so I didn't get a chance to look. But they'll be on the network along with 2 other games, only 3 next week since the Cavaliers are playing these Riverhawks. So make sure you tune into HighTopSportsNetwork.com. Find us on Facebook and Twitter. Make sure you like and follow us. And we have a couple of fun things coming up here, so make sure you're following along and staying up to date on all that we have going on High Top Sports Network and the Trib Live High School Sports Network. So one final time for Ryan Sprankle, my name is Joe Rhodes. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Have a great rest of your week, and may no train pass you by.